That's what's called, right? I can never remember what it's called.
Mead Radio works.
Mead Radio, Mead Radio. Yeah, I listen to it every once in a while. It's good stuff. And then Runner, as always, is here, and he just got back from his Best Buy as usual. So, how you doing?
Fuck off. I went to Best Buy yesterday.
You roboted a little bit.
Well, you've been roboting a lot, but that's just me, though.
I think that's on your end.
I'm gonna say it's on your end, Runner.
Yeah.
Because Greg sounds fine to me, but you're roboting to me too.
I'm gonna jump out and jump back in.
Go ahead, real quick. While he's doing that, let's say hey to everybody. Heather Preston says hi. Hi, Heather Preston. Glad you're here. My brother gives me a thumbs down. Glad you're here too. Yeah, but he gives me good vibes, so that's good. Tommy and the Guinea Pig Collective, what is up, my friend? Tim Hayes is here. Hello, Tim Hayes. How you doing? Film Watcher 96. Hey, how you doing as well? Deleted scenes. I just saw it like jumped on me. Deleted scenes. Steven, what's up? Hell to everyone. Long day at work. Just got home. We'll be in and out of the chat. Enjoy the show. I will rejoin when I can. Well, I'm glad that you're listen to us and hang out with us as you do, as you can. Dan Blackroyd, he says, time to party, and as everyone knows, ain't no party like a Best Buy party. We've put down Runner's Best Buy so much he's actually starting to have trouble at his Best Buy now. So, but still, it happens. Joey says, Bonsai. Hello, Joey. Glad you're here. Tyrell72. Hello. And look, hey, Runner Blaze is in the chat.
And I'm also in the panel.
There you go.
All right, do I sound good?
Sound better, yeah.
Yeah, and yes, I did
hear.
Check
your mic settings if not.
Yeah.
Mic set? Hold on a second. Oh, it's the webcam. Like, fuck.
Okay. Better now? Tom?
Much better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the snowball mic, so yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I have run into trouble. I bought the 6-movie Star Trek set, and it came with no digital code.
That's weird. That's weird.
Like I'm like, did Paramount seriously forget to put the fucking codes in there? Like, and
it happens. I've had ones where they've had 2 codes in them before.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least you got them. That's the difference. Then nothing. And here's the thing. Some people are gonna be like, oh, why do you give a shit about the digital codes? I don't give a shit about the digital codes, but since I'm paying for almost $100 for that damn thing, like why am I paying that much?
I get you. The digital codes, I mean, granted, like I've said before, we don't own digital, but the digital code is nice to have, especially if you don't get a Blu-ray. So that's why I'm good.
Exactly. Well, here's the thing: the Star Trek set does come with.
Yeah, they do have the Blu-ray 4K, but I'm just, it's always better to have the digital code, in my opinion. Even though I prefer the physical.
Well, yeah, we all prefer the physical, but the digital code is like, because if I'm not going to get the digital code, I would rather spend less money on that. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Like
and good evening, Media Archive Mike as well, and Bright Barth. Sorry, Runner, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just saying, like, yeah, I just, like, I got a little pissed off about that. I was like, really? So I returned it back. Here's the thing. I could have contacted Paramount, but I was just like, nah, I'd rather return it. And I got some other stuff. I exchanged it with a few other movies and stuff. So yeah.
Nice.
All's good.
We love getting physical.
Absolutely.
Definitely. What do you think went wrong with Highlander 2? Tom may get into that if you brought one. If I think you brought one that I think you may have brought later.
Man, I can't wait to get the 4K for that movie.
I know.
The first one, and that is.
I did not go for the new ET because I have the 35th anniversary 4K. So I know they added a couple new things on the new 4K. So I never went with it. But Top Gun Maverick, I love that Blu-ray or 4K. That's a great 4K.
Yeah, dude, the 4K is so damn good. And yeah, the Blu-ray is so shitty compared to the 4K.
Yeah. What's up, style
But
section? Physical is better than digital. Hell yeah, 100%.
oh, absolutely. I
Yes.
mean, obviously, I prefer the physical, but since I'm already spending that much money, it's like, I, you know, like I gotta have the digital codes as well if I'm spending almost $100 fucking dollars.
Right.
Because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like we provide you with this, but it didn't actually come with it. It's like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah. And Hale Rusty or Shackleford says, "Let's get physical." And Random Brad, hey, happy Georgia, man. Welcome, glad you're here. There wasn't much in the way of new announcements this week, so that nothing like I really felt like needed to be covered, other than for the my channel watchers here and stuff. You know, I love Full Moon. I know we talked about it last week, but going on sale tomorrow is the Full Moon Legacy box set, 11 of their Blu-rays with 11 like postcards inside of it, and they're all signed by Charles Band. The box is signed by Charles Band, and that will go on sale on Full Moon Direct tomorrow. So if you for only 120 bucks, which isn't bad for 11 Blu-rays signed by Charles Band himself. So if you're looking forward to that, that's some of their like very, very early films, like very early films, some that some people may not know. So just want to get on heads on that. But other than that, there's not much else to talk about in the way of new stuff coming. Wouldn't you say?
There's 7 was announced.
Oh yeah, 7.
Dazed and Confused.
4K.
Oh yeah.
Dazed and Confused 4K.
Otherwise, like I did get caught up finally on Earth Girls Are Easy because you guys had talked about it last week.
Okay.
I wasn't as impressed as you were.
That's understandable.
I'm glad we have it on Blu-ray finally, but it could look a lot better, and it could have used a sound upgrade. But while I was checking this one out, I picked up my old DVD. This is actually not the original DVD I bought. It's actually still in the plastic as I noticed. Because somewhere along the line, somebody stole my original one. So I ended up picking this up for like $3 someplace. And I didn't even notice until I'm looking at it. This is actually a 16:9 version. So at some point, they went back and remastered this without me knowing it. Because this used to be a Laserdisc rip. Where it wasn't... So it needed an upgrade badly anyway. So yeah, as far as like... My guess is this scan is from when they did this. So it's not horrible, but it's not miraculous. We're never going to probably get a 4K scan of this movie anyway.
And that's sad because it is something like you've mentioned before that would really pop in 4K.
It could if they had all the negative and stuff. But they did. I got to give Lionsgate some credit though. They did throw in a lot of new special features. It looks like all the old stuff's carried over, including like the 10 minutes of deleted scenes or whatever it was, and yeah, you get some new interviews with like Julie Brown and stuff like that, and the director, so that was kind of cool. So yeah, and then otherwise, I did take a chance, and I found what appeared to be Fright Night Part 2 online, but this is a bootleg, kids, as we've come to realize they're all bootlegs.
Yes.
This one's not one of the better ones. Picture-wise, it's okay, but it's not one of the better sound-wise, and once you throw the disc in, like, it looks great as far as like, you know, the quality of the, you know, the disc and everything looks like a legit disc. I don't even think it has the discoloration. Yeah, see, it even looks like a actual
like the
disc.
actual disc, yeah.
But it is a bootleg. You can definitely tell when you see the menu. So avoid that at all costs, kids.
Yeah. But I mean, like we've talked about before, because what did you hadn't seen it in a while? So, what did you think about it?
It's a lot better. It held up better than I remember.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Because like I remember when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know if I quite like this as much as I like the first one. But then once I gave it
kind of dives more into the horror tone than the comedy tone. But yeah.
Yeah, and then when it's grown on me through the years, I've really come to appreciate it, and I really think the third act really helps it because it's got a really great final act when they're all in that building fighting at the end. Yeah, I really dig that. I think that like seals it together for me.
What's funny is how much Roddy McDowall probably got paid, and you know, he's prominent in the trailers and shit, but he's hardly in the movie, really.
I know. I mean, well, that's because of the Mendez brothers' father. It's sort of one of the reasons I do believe, because he just couldn't get along with them. So, you know,
Because
but
yeah, it sure does feel like his time in the film is cut nearly in half
yeah,
compared to the first movie. He's in like one scene in the beginning, one scene in the middle, the dance scene, and then the ending.
right. But it's good, and so that's yeah. There you go. There are bootlegs of that floating around out there. Some good, some bad, and it's just we'll probably never get a real official release of that anytime soon. So, but anything else, Tom? Anything else you want to say before we? I guess we'll move on to Runner.
No, as far as that goes, that's the only stuff I had to catch up on.
Okay. Okay. And Runner, what's your first pick of the night?
My first pick of the night. Oh man. Okay, so this is one Tarantino film that I have. It's not the one that Tom has yet, but
Did we lose him? Did he
I
cut
think
out?
so. He probably turned on his camera and it died.
Probably. We lost your Runner. We can't hear you or see you.
He
He ran
ran
so
so far away.
hello,
couldn't
can you hear
get
me?
away. Hey, now we
I
can.
Okay, because I was saying hello like twice, and I'm like, fuck, did I glitch out? Okay.
Yes, yes, you did. You
Yeah,
ready?
my internet is so shitty. I'm sorry, guys.
That happens.
And I didn't watch the 4K for this because apparently it's not a good transfer, and I already gave away what the movie was. It's
Inglorious
Bastard.
Bastards.
You should have just seen.
Yeah, you should have popped into 4K just to see what it was like.
I probably will at some point. I bought this for $10. It was part of the best. It was part of the Best Buy Black Friday deal.
The Black Friday ones, yeah, that was going on.
I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it for $10. Why not? Because before it was like $20-something. I'm like, I ain't getting that fucking movie for that much. Considering how bad the transfer is, I'm like, I'd buy it for like $10 in a Black Friday deal. It's like, all right, finally.
I love the fact he buys the 4K and he goes, I've heard this was a really shitty transfer, but I didn't watch the 4K.
Well, no, I've seen like people compare it online, so it's like, why would I, you know?
Well, you could have seen for yourself, seeing if you would agreed with him.
I could have seen it for myself, but like this is the first time I like really watched the movie as a whole, and I'm like, I don't want to watch like a really shitty transfer of it. You know what I mean?
It is what it is. It's still not, honest to be honest with you, that's not one of my favorites of his.
It's not. No,
it's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. It's not one of my favorite Tarantino's.
No, it's not. Most people say it is their favorite, and I'm like, I don't see it. I like it. I think it really starts to pick up in the third act, because maybe it has that same thing about with me and Jackie Brown. Like Jackie Brown's a good movie, don't get me wrong, but like it's
I don't like where this is going already.
Hey, I like the movie. It's just not one of my favorites. It's one of my least favorite movies. Like, I'm sorry, compared to like Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Django, like those are way better movies in my opinion than
Jackie
this.
Brown's a way better movie than Django.
Wait,
Yeah.
what's a way better movie than Django?
Jackie Brown.
No, I'm sorry.
I think it is.
I don't think so at all.
I think it is.
Pam Grier, enough said.
Yeah.
She's great. No, she's great, but I like Django more. I just do.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but yeah, as far as Inglourious Bastards go, I think it's all right. It's got a great cast. I still, honestly, I would have loved to seen Adam Sandler as the Bear Jew. I think that would have been awesome.
I'm glad he's not.
I mean, yeah, but I still think that would have been. I think that would have been funny just to see him come out with that big old
I get
baseball
what you're
bat.
saying, but like, there's a part of me that's very glad he's not, because I mean, I do enjoy that film. I'm not disagreeing with you, Runner. It is on the lower end of his scale, but
yeah.
Okay, I thought this would be one of your favorites of his. Honestly,
no, it's in the bottom half.
Okay.
See, my bottom half is made up of the more outlandish stuff like Django, that, for instance.
I understand why you put Django there. I put it in the top half for me. Same with
Hey.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Django has one too many climaxes. That's the problem with Django.
What's up, Bill Russell? Just so you guys know, Bill Russell here. He is in Dr. Death Puppet Master spinoff movie.
Oh, really?
He dies in the
Cool.
beginning of the movie. Great guy here. He's a great guy.
We like Puppet Master here.
Yes, we do. So, what's up, Bill Russell? Glad to see you in the chat, man.
In fact, I had Puppet Master last week on here.
He's
And you talked about the one you were just talking about.
Yeah, Dr. Death. Technically, his death sets off the Dr. Death. He's been keeping him hidden away. So
it's all
there you
because
go.
of you. You let him out.
He would. I mean, what can you do? Randall Brad says he prefers Hateful Eight, leading it as his fave. That's a good one. That's a good one.
The Hateful Eight's good. I still need to watch the extended edition.
I'm pissed. Netflix. They don't have it in 4K anymore on Netflix. It's just in standard.
Oh,
they
serious?
Don't have the
what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's horseshit.
Yeah, it used to be in 4K. Now it's not.
See, that's what I say, Brand Barts. I would have loved to seen Adam Sandler come up, but that's what it is. But do they still have the like the extended cut on Netflix?
Yeah, it's still the extended cut, but it's just in standard def for some reason.
Yeah,
that's dumb. I mean, I also Kill Bill 1 and 2 are great.
Well, high def, but not, you know what I mean, not 4K.
Yeah.
It wasn't 4K for a while, so
yeah. Yeah, it's the characters are the characters that make the movies enjoyable. Every character has some features extended to the extreme. Yeah.
It's almost like I mean, it's still the same movie, but it's almost like a completely different film in a way, Runner, because it's almost twice as fucking long. Like it's split up into like 3 or 4 parts. I can't remember how many exactly, but like it's long. Like they split it up into like is it hour and a half or 2 hour fucking segments?
Yeah, that's what I heard. They like split into like different episodes, kind of.
It's really good though, because it's funny because it is still the same movie, but you're like seeing all this stuff. You're like, God, you're like, it's such a different movie at the same time. It's hard to explain.
Get you.
You get all the important shit in the main cut, but there's so much good shit in the extended cut too. It's like,
I bet.
It makes me want the whole bloody affair even more.
Yeah, that would be a dream for I wonder if they'll ever actually do it. You think they'll ever actually do it?
I hope so. He supposedly has a cut of it still that he screens once in a while, so I wouldn't be surprised.
That'd be nice. That would be nice. It's a shame you'll never get like one big giant Quentin Tarantino box set.
They did have one for his 10th anniversary. There's 10 film, whatever thing it's called. Or was it? I can't remember what it was called. It was 20th anniversary. That's what it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Tarantino XX or whatever it was. And so that was all right. That was kind of cool to have. But I mean, I would never say never again, but not likely. Yeah, because most of them are now over at Paramount.
It's true.
But I'm sure they'll come up later.
Maybe, or yes, I know so. I personally think it would have been cool to see Adam Sandler in it, but I also get at the same time why he was definitely not the good choice.
In what movie? For
Inglourious Bastards.
Okay.
For Quentin Tarantino's Rogue One.
Yes.
that is true. I do see that now.
No, that's what's funny is before I was even part of Midnight's Edge, one of my first reviews that I did on when I switched over to a movie review channel was Rogue One. And that's how I started out. I loved Star Wars Inglourious Bastards.
That's funny. Adam Sandler in fucking Inglourious Bastards. I like Adam Sandler, but I don't think he works well with that movie.
He was originally Quentin Tarantino's choice for the Bear Jew.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I could see him in like The Hateful Eight, honestly, if he was being cast as
Jibbity-doo! I'm gonna bust your head open now.
That would have been hilarious. It would never have worked, but that would have been hilarious.
Yes. This is my bad.
Mama said you're the devil.
Mommy said knock you out.
I seriously, that's funny. I literally watched The Waterboy like a few days ago.
Oh, you're the superior race. Jibbity-doo.
No, but the only reason I say he would work more in The Hateful Eight is because of that cast that's already in it.
Oh, I love Brad Pitt in that movie, though. He's just so great.
Yeah. It's it's not a bad one. I mean, like I said, it's not my favorite, but it's not a bad movie at all.
To me, it's in that
No.
middle to lower ground. Like, honestly, the only ones I'm trying to think of what I would put below it. Maybe, honestly, I mean, Django might be more fun. That's the problem with Django, so I can't really put it below Django. So it might be his least of my favorite of his films, to be honest with you. Even though I love it, right? Like, it's still like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 as far as films go. But, like, on the level of all his films, God, yeah, I guess it would have to. I mean, because Django just barely kind of edges it out in the fun factor.
I don't know. Inglourious Basterds is probably my second to least favorite of his.
Here's the problem you have, is that Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Basterds and in Django is probably two of my most favorite Tarantino performances of all time. Even though they're in like
he's still
even though in my two least like his whole "that's a bingo" scene is like just amazing. Like,
yeah,
and his whole thing in the beginning is great. Like, I mean, one of the most tense fucking scenes in cinema history, and I don't know how fucking long is that scene in the beginning of Inglourious Basterds there, where it's like just, and that's the thing, is that's why I was giving shit to Rogue One, because they clearly ripped it off. Like, it's like, it is so fucking obvious. Like, it's, oh, gee, I wonder where you got this scene from.
It's, like, it's true.
It's like, so like in that sense, like that scene alone makes that movie. Like, it's like just that and the whole setup of, you know, this girl getting away and then his revisionist history of how Hitler was killed and all that business. Like, and the whole idea that, you know, you got this group of Jews going out there and killing Nazis and shit. Like, it's a great concept, and it is very well done. So it's really tough to put it at such a low level. But like, you know, Jackie Brown and and Pulp Fiction, and like, cause Pulp Fiction would probably be my favorite. Then probably Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah,
this is a tough fucking thing, because
exactly,
like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is slowly creeping up my list. Like, every fucking time I watch it.
Too.
Yeah.
And you know, and it was the same thing with Jackie Brown, because at first that was the lower one, but then that slowly creeped up my list a little bit higher. And now to me that has like, it's almost like that's probably the middle ground, and then gosh, I don't know where you go from there, because like Kill Bill is so good too. That's
maybe I'll feel that way about Jackie Brown and Inglourious Basterds when I like rewatch them. Maybe they'll start creeping up later in the top, but like as of now, like not to say they're bad, because they're both.
Yes, they're both something. But I would say Inglourious, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I can't choose between which one of those I like the most, because that's probably my top three. But what order, I couldn't tell you.
What's your top three again? You started cutting out from my end.
Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's like my top three Tarantino films, but I can't tell you what order I would put them in. I just can't.
My top three, I would say, are definitely Pulp Fiction. This is not in order. Pulp Fiction, probably Django Unchained. I know Tom's gonna give me shit for that, but I'm gonna put that in my top three.
It's your choice, man.
Either Once Upon a Time, Reservoir Dogs. I'm gonna put Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, just because that's the one Tarantino film I saw.
And you kind of have Kill Bill as like this point where you go from the early Tarantino to the modern day Tarantino.
Yeah,
like that was kind of the turning point right there. So like, to me, it's almost like this. Outside of putting Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a little bit higher on the list than it would normally go, like my order of them is almost in the order they came out, except for maybe flip around Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. So that's kind of the way I am. It's almost like, because like later on, like first, I can understand Jackie Brown, because at first it's like, at the time it came out, it felt like a complete 180 from what he was doing in Pulp Fiction. But as you watch it more and more, you realize how much in common it does have with Pulp Fiction. And it kind of
Right.
is like this perfect little capper to what he did in Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Jackie Brown almost work like a little trilogy, is what I'm trying to say. Like they have this like little like thing where they all are kind of part of the same era. And then you go to his next, his next plateau. And Death Proof.
I haven't seen Death Proof.
See, Death Proof and From Dusk Till Dawn kind of fall into that gray area. Right?
Yeah.
Like they're Tarantino films, but yet they don't feel like they're in the, even though I
Right.
think he considers Death Proof one of his 10 or whatever.
Yeah, when
He's
he's yeah.
counting.
Well, and then
But,
like Dust to Dawn, he just wrote it. He didn't direct it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just
He
it.
also,
You want to talk about, if you're going to do that, then you're going to bring in True Romance.
I was gonna say
Exactly.
True Romance is great.
Exactly.
And that was directed by Tony Scott.
Yeah.
And then you can
And-
make an argument if somebody actually liked Natural Born Killers, even though I can't fucking stand it. Tarantino don't like it.
I watched it over a month ago on Netflix. I did not like it.
I thought it was all right, but
I don't know. It didn't. It's like it's hard to believe like that it was written by Quentin Tarantino. That's the problem.
well, the thing is, like he said, he butchered it. The guy that
Yeah,
directed
Oliver Stone.
yeah.
Well, he made
But-
it an Oliver Stone movie. Is what he did.
That's the
Yeah.
problem. And
Not
I
to
like-
segue off real quick though, but did you guys see that trailer for Robert Downey Jr.'s dad's documentary about his dad?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, that movie looks good. It's from the director of American Movie. It's going to be on Netflix. I know I didn't mean to segue. Just Robert Downey Jr.'s is in Once Upon a Time, or Natural Born Killers. I'm sorry, and they did a documentary called Senior. It's about Robert Downey Jr.'s dad, and it just looked really good. Anyways, go on.
See, Robert Downey Jr. is probably the one thing I liked in Natural Born Killers.
Yeah,
And I like Woody Harrelson. I didn't care for him in that movie, and I couldn't stand the love interest.
Well, we
Yeah.
kind of talked a little bit about this earlier on 4K for You, but my understanding is at the time when he wrote Natural Born Killers and True Romance, they were the two stories were kind of meant to complement each other because they're both Bonnie and Clyde stories, if you really
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you had the one where it was the ones that were the bad couple, the Bonnie and Clyde type going out and killing, and then you had in True Romance where it was, these guys, kids trying to do right. Kind of a thing.
Mhm.
So it was like, that whatever you want to juxtaposition or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. See, but True Romance worked because it actually felt like a Tarantino movie with a little bit of Tony Scott-esque stuff, and that worked.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Oliver Stone's style does not work with Tarantino. at all.
No. Well, and that's the thing is Tarantino and Oliver Stone's voices, they clashed.
yeah, they're not.
They're not
Yeah,
the
they're
same.
drastically different.
Tony Scott understood he looked at the script and he got it.
Yeah,
Right? And
Exactly.
actually, I don't know if most people know this or not, but he actually wanted to do Reservoir Dogs.
Oh yeah, you told us that.
But
Yeah.
Quentin's like, no, I kind of want to do Reservoir Dogs myself, but I will gladly sell you this. And he gave him True Romance. And of course, the rest is history. But
Yeah. And Film Watcher 96, I agree with him. This is probably one of the worst Hollywood history eras of movies. I agree with that.
Yeah, I retweeted that earlier.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is. It's. Why do you think we sit here like on the physical media show? It's yes, we're showing you physical media, but notice the movies we bring with you. How often do you see like brand new movies that we bring to on here?
Yeah,
So
Not too often.
it's rare.
it's rare. It's very rare.
Unless it's a good movie like Top Gun Maverick or
Or
something. then, yeah.
Bullet Train or
Bullet
a new
Train
Quentin
was a great
Tarantino
movie.
movie.
Few and far
Yeah, it's
between.
like there are some decent stuff that come out nowadays, but like most of it is like it's just trash.
It
So
is,
yeah,
it is.
I agree.
But if anybody wants to see, there's you can watch it after you watch the show here. But that I'm not much for watching Netflix, but that documentary looked really, really good, and so I'm kind of looking forward
Check
to
that
that.
out.
Yeah.
But I suppose I should go now since I have a butt ton of movies here.
Do you want to go before me or?
You want me to just so we can kind of even this out a little bit?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Like bounce between everybody here. Because I watched like
I'll go
10
after you.
movies. And November 22nd, Highlander, of course, is hitting 4K here in the US. And it is no stranger to home video. In fact, if you've watched my little video already, you kind of have an idea of what I'm about to show here, but these are just the copies I have, and this is not what Highlander's limited to. It has literally had a lot more than this. This was his first bow on DVD, though. Here's
I
the
had that one.
old ass Lumineer Republic Pictures DVD put out by Artisan way back when Artisan was before they were bought out by Lionsgate. And then I don't even think this is the only version that Anchor Bay put out, but this is one of them. This is the Queen edition that's in a nice
tin.
metal.
I have that one too.
This has the CD and just like 3 songs on it, and the movie and a book.
Yep.
And this was when they remastered it, I believe, the first time. And then they remastered it again, and it made its way to DVD and Blu-ray, and then it made its way to DVD to Blu-ray again when it was mastered in 4K for the 30th anniversary. So if you have this version of it, it's a pretty good version of it. Because that scan was then used for this one, which will subsequently be the same one that gets used in November for the one that's coming out here. But this is Studio Canal's release from the UK.
I love that cover. This
and it is
the
a very nice cover.
Yeah, it reflects. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's really nice. And then, of course, when you open it up, you got the Kurgan here facing off against Connor.
I love that.
And then on the other side, you got Connor here when he was, a Highlander. Of course, you got the 2 discs. Now, the Blu-ray that's in here is the older Blu-ray release from before the 30th anniversary. So I actually got to compare all 3 versions of it. So
nice.
Again, this 4K upgrade is not a huge leap over this one here. So if you have this one and you're kind of on the fence, it is a bit of a jump, but it's not like leaps and bounds, right?
What year was that one put out?
This was the 30th anniversary, so this one's only from 2016 or whatever. So This is only like 5 years old now. And this is the same scan, but it's actual 4K with Dolby Vision and all that business. And it also comes with a poster, some really cool cards. Now these cards are going to be the same cards that come with the Steelbook.
Okay.
But this also has a poster that's just like this here, and also has
Isn't there like a mini comic book
and a mini comic?
There it is,
and some buttons.
Nice. I kind of wish I would have bought that one now.
Yeah, me too.
This, and I'm assuming the Lionsgate version will have the same thing.
Yeah.
Because all the old special features are carried over on to the Blu-ray, but there is 3 new special features on the 4K. Or take that back, 4 new special. Well, 5 actually, 5 with commentary. But 4 basic videos. We got Clancy Brown interview, David James interview, who was the photographer on the film, and then a featurette that talks about the music and the soundtrack. And then this is the cream de resistance, though. You get a brand new hour-long documentary with brand new interviews from pretty much everybody who's still alive.
Nice.
Including Christopher Lambert, the director, everybody who's still alive. The only people who are probably missing is people from Queen and stuff like that. So
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery, unfortunately, yes, you're right. He's not here either. But
yeah, rest in peace.
Understandable, you know, obviously. Yeah, but Mulcahy's here, Panzer, all of them. Great interviews, hour-long brand new documentary. That's the kind of shit I like to see.
Yes.
Right. You're going that extra mile, even though this is not a huge improvement picture-wise. It is a big improvement. The fact that we've got, these new featurettes, a new commentary, and this hour-long documentary to go along with all the classic features, which there was already a really nice documentary from the old features. It was like almost 2 hours in and of itself already, on top of some of the other stuff. So, fortunately, outside of the music videos, pretty much Highlander's been fortunate to have most of its special features carried over.
Well, that's good.
The years. So, and of course, the only way you can get the music videos is if you get the silver box set here, or you buy the Queen Greatest Video set, which is also available. So it's not like they're not available. But
And just,
no,
there's mine 1 and 2.
and that is actually worth a lot because of Highlander 2.
Right. And this
And that would be
mine
the
says the
first scan.
25th.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah,
is
so that'd be the
the
25th
scan before
anniversary
yours.
scan.
Yeah.
And that one looks muddy as hell.
Yeah.
And that's
So
the one
there's
that would be
that.
on the old UK disc I have.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to I kind of wish I would have bought that one because I was going to pre-order that one, and then I saw it was coming to the Steelbook and all that through Best Buy and all that. So I was like, oh, I'll just wait for the US one. Now I kind of wish I would have bought that one.
It's kind of here's the thing. I'm not a fan of these chunky packages.
Right.
Because it does get squashed in the mail. It did. These always do tend to.
Mm.
But yeah, you get a lot of cool goodies in it, and I did order the Steelbook too, so I'll be able to compare.
Well, there you go.
Like for $20, fuck it. I've got almost every other version of this movie. Why not?
There you go. I don't know why we
I
can't
didn't
get
even show off my figures here. I got
yeah, there you go.
my
Here.
Connor and my Kurgan. He's even got a helmet somewhere here. So you got Connor and Kurgan. There you go.
I love it.
My camera sucks.
I don't know why we can't get a theatrical cut of Highlander 2. That's just one of them things.
It'd be nice if they came out with a nice new edition with all like a special edition and the original cut just to have. Because I love the batshit crazy cut. Just because of how batshit crazy it is.
It is. That movie is just it's so bad. It's one of the where it's become so bad it's actually fun to watch, where it's so
That's
good.
the version I grew up with. I had the tape.
Me too.
We didn't have the Renegade version until I actually have it here.
I remember renting the tape and I was like, what
this
the
was
fuck
the first time we
this?
got the Renegade version, because actually I have this one here.
Oh, there you go.
You know, this is the first time we got the Renegade cut. Then they redid it for the Blu-ray. So fuck it, redo it for 4K and give us the theatrical cut for once.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I wonder if it's got a crazy version.
I wonder if it's got like a thing like
what about
Fright Night 2. What was that?
No, I think they just don't want to release it.
Yeah, probably.
3 and 4.
Got the imports of those, and they've been on DVD, but that's it.
Yeah, I have the DVD. I have them all except
Dan,
what?
You guys cut out like big time. Sorry.
Yeah, your internet is sucking.
Yeah,
tonight,
it's you're the one that's cutting out.
well, obviously, but you guys are cutting out through my end, is what I'm saying. I'm obviously the one cutting
imports
out.
Blu-ray.
Import Blu-ray. I don't have the import Blu-ray, but I have them on DVD, which I actually thought about watching them this weekend.
Did you guys hear my question though?
Mm-hmm.
What was the question?
Oh, what about Highlander 3 and 4?
We've been trying to answer you for the
Yeah,
last 2 minutes.
we've been answering that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you at all.
Honestly, though, my import of Highlander 3, outside of it being cool because it has the actual title overseas, which is The Sorcerer or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It looks like dog shit. The DVD actually looks a little better.
Oh.
Because I actually have the digital version and the standard definition digital version. It looks almost better than my Blu-ray. What went wrong with Highlander 2?
They ended it in the first movie.
A lot of things.
A lot of things.
Actually, that's not even so much the problem. The bigger problem was the fact that the studio behind it wanted and demanded Sean Connery be in the film. That is where I think the biggest problem lied. And in the fact that they had to bring back a character that died. It's a little easier to kind of shake off that, you know, because they kind of, I can't remember how they presented it, but in the kind of like, you know, yeah, Kurgan, he thought he was the last one, but he wasn't. He was just very powerful. So that's why it was a powerful quickening.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's kind of how they played it off in the future of beyond that from my recollection. But
I think they were aliens, and
that the second film they tried to make them fucking aliens from the future.
Yeah, they were aliens from the future.
From the planet Geist.
No. The original version, they were just aliens.
You're right. No, you're right. I got
and
crossed over. Yes.
Yeah, and then in the Renegade, where they tried to fix it, Runner will be back. He's when he restarted his computer.
They made them from the future.
Yeah, they made them from the future to make it more narrative to fit in with the original.
And it makes it worse.
Yeah, and it just confuses it. It's. So I said it's so bad. It's fun to watch. It's just like a train wreck. You just can't stop watching. And bless Michael Ironside's heart. He tries.
You know, that's the sad part is there's some really cool shit in part 2.
There's
some
cool
really,
stuff.
really cool shit. And they spent a lot of fucking money on that movie.
Yes, they did. I mean,
for
like,
no good reason.
I think they really thought they was going to have like a big franchise hit with it. And so they were like, yeah, let's do this.
Well, the movie wasn't even that big of a hit. That's the funny thing. It was a big hit on video. I mean, it was a bigger hit in the UK than it was here. And they had a bunch of financiers. So, like, that's the other thing. So I think it was kind of a Golden Globus kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Where they had and all these financiers had different demands, but the one that was most prominent is they had to get back Sean Connery. And in that lied the problem of how do we explain this whole thing and whatnot.
Yeah.
When clearly the series was the route to go, right? Like,
right.
And I didn't even hate the idea in the 4th film of them having like a group of, immortals that were sacrificing themselves to keep the game going forever. That part it didn't bother me. The rest of the movie I thought was shit. But that's a whole
I'll be honest with you. Part 4 has grown on me through the years because, yes, I was a little pissed off when they spoiler alert for anybody who's not seen Part 4, which I may actually watch this weekend and bring it on next week, Wednesday maybe. They kill Connor and Duncan takes it, which I was a little pissed off when I first saw it.
The whole thing is batshit crazy though.
Yeah,
Greg. It's not just that; it's the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, but it's kind of grown on me through the years, and I've come to appreciate Duncan a little more. And
like, here's the problem: you have a movie that was supposed to make both fans of the movies and the series happy, and it did neither.
It's true.
In fact,
it's true.
It infuriated both.
Mm-hmm. Because I would. It goes in all different. Much like most Highlander sequels, it goes all over the place.
And here's the funny part: because when that movie came out, believe it or not, I was actually dating my son's mother at the time. This is just like a year before he was born, and she was a huge fucking fan of the series.
Right.
I was a bigger fan of the movies. I've seen a couple of the episodes of the series. I never really got that deep into the series, though. To me, without Connor, it was pointless. Right? To me, Connor was Highlander. So you had us. It was funny because you had us doing different reactions to the film while we were watching. I was cringing and yelling at all the shit that had to do with the movie side of things. Mm-hmm. She was getting pissy with all the things that had to do with the show. So she's like, "Oh, he's a watcher, but he wouldn't say that, or this is not how that would work." And then she's like, "That's not how she would act because they had this happen and that." Like, so she was just going off. So to me, it reminds me of what a lot of people are trying to explain to me about Star Trek: The Next Generation films before I became real familiar with the show. And now after seeing the show and seeing the movies, I'm like, oh, I get what people are saying. These are completely not the same characters.
Right, right.
So it's probably the same way when you're watching Highlander Endgame, when you're like, those are the same actors, but they're not playing the characters like they are in the movie. Like, something's not right, you know? It's
exactly, which I get that. Yeah, I get that because I've seen the show and everything. But like I said, it always feels, to me, it feels like a Highlanders, even like what they did to the TV show, like, especially like with part 2. It's like these characters all of a sudden changed and stuff that happened in the TV show and the movies. It's just, it's all kinds of weird.
Well, let's not even get into how part 3 technically acknowledges and disregards the TV show at the same fucking time. Because there's a character from the TV show that pops up nonchalantly, and if you don't know he's from the TV show, you have no idea.
Yeah,
and he doesn't really play any factor into the movie at all, really. And then if you know that, fine. But then the movie still plays like there's no other Highlanders. It does. Like the movie is like, it's totally disregarding, and it's like, you do realize you have a very popular show on TV right now at the same goddamn time going on. Like,
exactly.
Anyway, the Highlander series has been a mess ever since the first film, and that's why I'm like, you know what? You can remake this and reboot this because there's potential like a motherfucker here. It just needs focus. It
I
needs
agree, 'cause
rules. You need to sit down, you need to write this out, and you need to figure out that this is where we're going to end, but we need to start here so we have this kind of much to work with.
see, I agree with that because I mean, as much as I love, because I love the first Highlander movie, that's one of my all-time favorites, and I don't really care for remakes and reboots and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, knowing the fact that Henry Cavill is coming on as Connor, the guys that did John Wick, director of John Wick, is coming on, and he's a fan of the TV show himself. And he said the really big challenge was to try to blend what's the movies and the TV show storyline together.
Which is what you got to do. That's
Exactly.
pretty much what you got to do. You got to kind of come up with this idea that there's a hell of a lot more immortals than you realize.
Yeah, so that gives me a little. That honestly, it gives me a little hope for the remake because he's actually been proven to be a fan of the TV show and the movies, and he has the right ideal to blend the TV show and the movies together, and using Connor McLeod. Much as I would love to see Duncan, but I think it's best to go with Connor and trying to figure out how to do that. I'm interested to see who they get as their Kurgan now. Have we ever heard anything about that?
Well, Batista was signed on years ago.
Yeah, years. That was like way
But
back.
I don't know if
he.
he's still going to be a part of it or not. But yeah. But that's the thing is you kind
I
of got to
would
go
rather
with a
not
simple
see him
story
as
like
Kurgan.
the Kurgan. And you don't even have to have the idea that the Kurgan's only there because of the, the final prize. He's been tracking down Connor since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing. And that's what I love in this interview that they got on this new disc where, Clancy's talking about how like that's kind of his motivation is like he's gotten to this point where he's been alive so long that nothing else matters to him but getting Connor.
Right.
Like that's the only thing getting him up in the morning anymore. Like he has nothing else to live for. That's it.
I could
Like
buy
he
that.
went into it with that motivation. Like that's where this guy's at in his life. He's been alive for so fucking long and he's conquered everything that he's done every thrill. There's nothing left for him to do but take down Connor. That's his final, the only reason he gets up in the morning and all that business. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it sounds like it's on the right track. I just honestly, I'm not sold on Batista as the Kurgan, and like Style Section said, no one will ever top Clancy Brown.
Oh hell no.
Yeah, nobody's going to top Clancy Brown. Henry Cavill looks like he'll probably be a good Connor. So as long as he can do the accent, because that's my only. I mean, I love Christopher Lambert as Connor McLeod. I think he's awesome, but the accents.
I don't think Henry's going to have a problem doing it.
So yeah, I think Henry can do a great Scottish accent, and I hope he does a good American accent. So I think he's got the accents down.
As far as bad guy though, like as far as playing the Kurgan,
who would you cast?
Batista, Jason Momoa would be an interesting Kurgan.
Yeah, he's got the.
But he's a little too big of an actor to take on a secondary role like that. Unfortunately,
he's got a more booming voice than Batista.
Yeah. I'd probably go along the lines of Jeffrey Dean Morgan or.
Oh, that could be good. He'd have to bulk up though.
That's what I'm saying. You got to have somebody who's physically going to be able to look imposing up against
Henry Cavill because he's a big mother.
That's just it. Yeah, Cavill's much bigger than what Christopher Lambert was. That was the beauty of Clancy Brown is he's like 6 foot something and big dude, and Connor's just like 5'9" and whatever. But yeah, between those two, probably the best.
I do like the idea of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but he, like I said, that could be interesting. Who would I cast? I don't know. It's a tough. That's probably the toughest role to cast in that movie.
Michael Clark Duncan, if he was still with us, would have actually
that would have been interesting.
Version of him.
Yeah. Oh, you could almost do.
Shit, if you're gonna do that though, if you're gonna race swap, I'd take Terry Crews.
Shit, or
Terry Crews could play anything.
Oh, I just had it in my head. It was a black guy. If you race swap, I can't remember his name now. It's just like popped in and popped out. I had to come back to me. I was trying to think of somebody, but I just can't. That's like the hardest role to cast. I don't know who I could even fathom going that role. Huh. I'm looking at my movie shelf, looking at all the movies I have to see if somebody pops out at me.
Yeah, it's hard to cast a Kurgan, but the upside is then once you can get past that is, once you get past the simple story, then you can open up
The world,
the universe to everything. Yeah, and it'd be cool to see Connor go up against like a samurai immortal, and a Roman immortal, and all these other things, to deal with the different kind of battle styles, and shit like that. That'd be kind of cool. But,
you could even get that guy that if Runner was here, you could get the guy from the new Mortal Kombat that played Scorpion. That could be interesting. Yeah. Where you at, Runner?
Because the Kurgan is actually supposed to be a medieval knight. And the movie was actually titled The Dark Knight because of him originally. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but it was originally called The Dark Knight. And because he was referred to in the script as the Dark Knight. So
interesting.
Just like Batman, yes.
Yes, just like Batman. Who would you cast?
Night, yeah.
Who would you cast as Ramirez?
Oh, easy. Antonio Banderas.
There you go. That's perfect casting.
Yeah, because he's fucking Zorro.
Yes, that is perfect casting. He's got the sexy. I mean, granted, he's not Sean Connery, but he's got the sexiness for the women, like Sean Connery portrays. The peacock. He could totally pull off the peacock. That is perfect casting. Yeah, and plus you could say he's the Spanish Egyptian, so that would be perfect. That would be perfect. The
only other guy I could think of is the Kurgan. Who was in No Country for Old Men?
Oh, what's his name?
Damn it, that guy.
I know who you're talking about with the weird bowl haircut in that movie.
Yes, he would be perfect.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, but if you can't get him to play the Kurgan, he could also be your secondary to possibly play Ramirez. But I can see him playing the Kurgan and kicking ass. That'd be great.
That would be cool. But I think you nailed it with Ramirez. I really do.
Ramirez.
It's Antonio Banderas. I think that would be perfect. But the Kurgan is the hardest one. I just don't know who I would ever cast for that. I just don't.
Was your woman.
Of course you are.
My name's Candy.
I love that movie. I really do.
Of course.
I love his damn sword too. They'd have to make a good Kurgan sword because the way he puts that together and then he spins that across his arms and shit. Oh, I love that scene.
McKay, he still has that sword. He says the only thing that don't work is the spring in it.
Oh, really?
And the reason for that and this is funny because I didn't notice it until he brought it up. This is of all the times I've watched this movie, never thought about it. He's like, first of all, the Kurgan has this huge fucking sword. He's like, there's no way you're going to be able to run around New York with a sword that fucking big.
It's true.
So he came up with this idea, this concept that it would be a breakdown method. Like he'd have it, broke down and he could break it down into pieces.
Right.
He goes, and then he would come to Connor and we like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to say to hell with it. So you'll notice throughout the film, Connor just running around without a sword under his jacket. All of a sudden he's got a sword under his jacket.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
It never even dawned on me all these times watching this movie. I'm like, you know what? Jesus fucking Christ, he's right.
I've noticed that where he's just like, he'll run around, then all of a sudden, boom, here's a sword. I'm like, where did he pull that from?
Yeah, they just got to this point where just like, you know what? Fuck it. Just like, they put too much thought in the Kurgan sword. So
it's true. And you know what? That could actually be interesting. Adrian Paul as Ramirez. That could be interesting.
Although I'll be clear. Look, Adrian Paul is not that great of an actor.
No, he's not.
He's all right. It'd be cool to see him in as, you know what? You use him as like as a cameo, as like one of Connor's clan or something like that, or the clan of clan.
Or he could be one of the people of Kurgan. You know how he shows him battling in New York and he kills one. He could be one of those guys. I don't think fans would accept that, maybe, but could be. But yeah, one of his.
No, I mean, you also want to be able to sell this, and that was the whole reason they had Sean Connery in the first one. Was because nobody else was a star yet, and that was what sold the film. So,
on this time you got Henry Cavill, so he sells the film.
True. In that case, though, I'm really, really sold. I hope they get into Antonio Banderas.
So do I. You've sold me on, because now I want to see Antonio Banderas.
He's basically Puss in Boots.
He is. He legitimately
that's
is.
Ramirez, okay? It's really who he is.
He could wear the whole same outfit, the same exact outfit. I don't know who Rory McCain is. Do you know who that is?
The name sounds familiar.
I'm not
I
sure
think
who
it's the
that is,
name.
Brian Barth.
Okay, he's a Scottish
Let me
actor.
look that guy up. Hold on a
Yeah,
second.
he could probably pull it off, but I haven't really seen him in anything. He's from Game of Thrones, it looks like.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I guess he was in Hot
Oh, I
Fuzz,
think I
but
know
I
who
don't
that is.
remember that.
Yeah.
So, or I don't remember him in it, I mean, I should say. Yeah, he looks,
Okay.
look-wise, he could pull it off.
You know,
Yeah.
that's not bad. Joe Manganiello could
Oh,
play
yeah.
Kurgan.
Yeah, that's another guy I can see pulling
Yeah.
Kurgan.
Oh, I like that idea more, honestly.
He's
I can
getting up
see
there
it.
a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. But I guess
All
we
right,
get,
now that we've drugged this out because of Runner,
yeah, I guess I'll move on to my
Yeah,
first pick. My first pick. You got something to say, Runner?
I got 20 fucking movies to go, and we've been here for an hour.
So I got this. Considering Kevin Conroy had passed away, this isn't probably the movie you think about, but it's Superman, Batman, Public Enemies with Kevin
I love that
Conroy as
movie.
Batman and Tim Daly as Superman. This was like the first where they first reunited after the series for so long. So I watched
remember
this
liking
one.
that one.
Was that?
good.
Yeah, it was
I
good.
remember liking that one. It's been a while. I think I've got that one in that deal with the comic book where it's actually in a book.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. But yeah, this is a fun one. Basically, Lex Luthor's president. There's a kryptonite comet headed towards Earth. Superman and Batman are basically public enemies number one because Lex Luthor, and he wants Superman to die. And so it's sort of like a Marvel Civil War type thing before Marvel Civil War because he sends the superheroes after Superman and Batman to fight him. So it's got that, and it's got really great delivery. One of my favorite scenes is where Metallo shoots Superman with the kryptonite bullet, and he's laying in the grave, and Batman's, trying to get the bullet out of him, and Superman's like, "I miss good villains," and Batman's like, "What the hell are good villains, Clark?" I love that scene. I just love I know a lot of people love Frank Miller and what he did, but I always preferred Superman and Batman as friends, not enemies. That's one of the reasons why I didn't much care for Batman v Superman, because it took the inspiration from that. And I just prefer them as friends, not enemies. But yeah, I love it. And plus, it's got a really great special feature on here. Dinner with the DCU with Kevin Conroy. Sits down with the creators of Batman. Bruce Timm and all them, and has a dinner with them, and they talk about the series and Justice League and all that. So that's a really good thing. I really, this is one of my favorites of the DC animated movies. So
that is a good one, and it did come. It came with my Batman animated movie set.
Yeah,
that
the big
I got.
set. Yeah,
that big set. Yeah.
It came with that movie as well as the sequel. I forgot what it was called, like Apocalypse or something, right?
Yeah. Apocalypse sucked. See you later, Tommy. If I missed you, see you later, buddy. Thanks for stopping by.
It I don't know. I thought it was okay.
I tell you, the Superman Batman Apocalypse sucked because if you actually read the graphic novel, they fucked it up in the movie. So they changed it way too much for my liking.
Well, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I just thought it was okay. I don't think I read the graphic novel.
Speaking of Clancy Brown, he's Lex Luthor in
the best Lex Luthor.
Batman, Superman, Public Enemies here. He plays Lex Luthor. So
he's a great fucking Lex Luthor. I love him as Lex Luthor.
He's got a good voice for it. So yeah, there was that. That was that. I kind of, I didn't want to bring Batman Mask of the Phantasm because yes, that's a great movie and I love it and I've seen it a million times. And I wanted to bring something a little different for that since I watched it.
I literally have 2 copies of it because it came with the Batman big animated set as well as the animated series box set as well.
Yeah.
I didn't bring it on, but in celebration, or whatever you want to call it, I hate using that term for it, but dedication to, I guess, is a better term. Yeah. I watched the first episode of the animated series on Leather Wings, is what I did.
That's nice. I broke out my DVD sets of the animated series, and Yeah,
I actually got the Blu-ray set. It's worth it.
Yeah, I know.
A chance to upgrade. They look beautiful.
I want to get that Blu-ray set. I've been meaning to for a very long time. I'm just kind of lazy on that end.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, that DVD set you have, sadly, is from an old VHS master. Basically,
it's not the greatest.
Not the greatest. No,
it gets blurry in parts, and it's hard sometimes to see certain
it's a
things.
very harsh set. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it is. That the bonus scene on that Superman is with Kevin and dinner. That's a good one. It's a good one.
I need to watch that. But yeah. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy.
Fucking
It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, and you know, for me, I mean, like when it comes to Kevin, it wasn't just the animated series, which we all love, but it was also like the video games. You know, Batman, Arkham Asylum, City, all those games. Like
me, the cartoons. I don't really play the games.
Well, obviously you don't. I'm speaking about myself. Like I'm saying, like his voice was fucking.
I had the VR
dude.
one. That was kind of cool because it was kind of like being Batman, even though it's not a very long game. But yeah,
yeah, that was my only problem with it. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't have a VR set, so I didn't really care to get that. But like, I just like the video games are fucking great, and I think, yeah, like those first.
What the hell was that?
What?
It was just computer going crazy.
Yeah, your noises went.
Oh
your
my
computer's
god!
just going.
It was loud.
All right, well, where are we on now? Is it?
Yeah.
Are we bouncing back to me quick? And
you want to go to you or Runner? It's up to you guys.
I just say we might as well do one for me in between here.
Okay, we'll go back to you real quick, and then we'll do Runner.
All right. What am I going to do next here? Jesus Christ, I've got so many. Well, since everybody can see it, we might as well do this one next. Wayne's World. Party time! Excellent.
Should be Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln. Here, of course, is the original Blu-ray and the DVD. And sadly, the only thing that this thing is missing, before I get into anything else, is I just wish they would have carried over the original menus. For anybody who has the DVD of Wayne's World, they know exactly what I'm talking about. But I don't know if you'd get I don't think you get a strike for this, but I'll show you guys this real quick.
That's all right. I mean, I can always edit it out.
Or not a claim, I mean, not a strike.
Yeah, no, it should be.
Let me see here. I can share this. This is what the old DVD.
Full day for fishing.
Now, this was cool. I loved this DVD menu.
It's nice.
Just outside of Chicago, in the basement of this house,
It's Wayne's World!
broadcast history is about to be made.
Extreme close up! Whoa!
But before it plays any music and stuff, but like you click on the Brady Bunch and it plays a clip from the Brady Bunch and all that kind of shit. It was really fun. It was kind of cool.
Dude, that clip was so damn loud from my end.
Sorry about that, guys.
It's fine.
No, like you were trying to talk and like I can't hear you, dude.
But yeah, that was what's missing to me from the Blu-ray onto this 4K. But yeah, other than that, it's got the same old special features from before. Nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
Movie-wise, though, yeah, it looks better than it ever has before. But there is some unevenness to this scan as we get from Paramount. It seems from time to time there's some unnecessary noise reduction here and there. Some scenes look great, some don't. Otherwise, though, the sound was a bit of an upgrade, I guess. It has Dolby Atmos, but not only that, for the first time since I saw it in theaters, do we actually get to hear the first few notes of Stairway to Heaven.
For real, they got it back?
Yes.
Finally.
I haven't had to listen to it twice. I was like, wait a minute. Yes. I have not heard it that way since I saw it in theaters.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So in that respect, great film. Is it worth the upgrade? Probably, because the old Blu-ray looked like donkey shit. And the price is not too bad. But I mean, as far as if you're expecting to get blown away by the 4K presentation, don't.
I thought you said the Blu-ray is better in the group chat.
No, I never said that.
No.
Wait, really? Because I thought you're in the group chat. You were like, Wayne's World looks like shit. It's worse than the Blu-ray. I thought you said.
I don't remember saying it's worse than the Blu-ray. I said it almost looks like the first. For some reason, the first 5 or so minutes of this film look like dog shit, and I don't know what it was, but there's a ton of noise reduction applied to it. And as we pointed out before with Scream 2, there was a couple other Paramount movies recently that we discussed. Can't remember the titles offhand, where we had talked about them having some kind of excessive noise reduction.
Yeah. Now, Tim Hayes wants to ask noise reduction.
No. What it means is what they're doing is the DNR. When we say DNR, that's what we're talking about. It's where they literally scrub the picture down so it doesn't look so grainy. But what
and it's film. It's supposed to be grainy.
Here's the thing: is some people like that, and some people expect that kind of a presentation, and it does give it a bit of a, to the untrained eye, yeah, it looks nicer, shinier, cleaner, whatever you want to fucking call it. But when you're scrubbing away resolution, is what is happening. And what it can result in is a softer picture image. You can lose clarity in a lot of things. It's in this case, it's not as bad as, say, like it used to be when the classic Terminator 2 or Predator situations where people were looking rubbery. It's not that bad, but you can definitely tell that some kind of noise reduction was applied. Not only that, they applied that fake 4K grain filter over top of it. Right. Which is just kind of a way of them trying to make it look like it's, which makes no sense because they reduce all the grain to try and make it look like there's still grain. It makes no sense to me, but it's how they do this shit sometimes. And this unfortunately seems to be one of those pictures that has that, but the movie seemed to get better after the first few minutes. Once we get to some of the nighttime scenes, it doesn't seem like there's as much, oddly enough, which is usually when they add more noise reductions because they can get rid of some of the grain. Like when you get into the bar scenes and stuff like that, it actually started seeming like, oh, now we're getting some natural grain structure here compared to the first few bits. Yes, digital noise reduction.
Yes.
So overall, like the presentation, it's a bit uneven. I'd give it like a 7 or 8, but it's got a Dolby Atmos track now and it kicks. It's got a kick to it. It's definitely an upgrade. Now I don't think it has the original 2.0 stereo track to it though. So unfortunately, purists will be a little upset about that. I was kind of, I wish they had. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is on here. I could be wrong. It might be on here. If it's not on here, it's on the old Blu-ray. I know it's on one of them, and it's not on the other. But anyway, the Blu-ray was nothing to write home about. It was literally just the movie with the special features carried over without the menus, like I was showing before. So, and this is very similar in that respect. So.
I just
in that case, yeah.
Yeah, I wish they would bring back menus like that, though.
Which is sad, because as I was saying earlier on 4K for You, with Blu-ray and now 4K, they actually can go a lot farther than they could with DVD.
Right.
But they just don't have the people there to push the technology like they did with DVD.
That's true. And that is one of the... sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's all I was saying.
I was going to say that's one of the complaints that the Cinemasker guy had with his video that he made all those years back about why he doesn't like Blu-rays or whatever.
Of all the videos he did, I hate that video.
I know, I hate that video myself because I'm sitting there, I was watching, I was like, yeah, I miss those menus too, but dude, come on. It's just
I was going to say, let me be clear why I hate that video, and that video actually has a point of, okay. Let's see if I can tell this story.
I hate it because I just like, for other reasons, but go ahead.
Well, you might be similar reasons, but it has like a story attached to it that I'm trying to think if I should tell the whole story. Okay. When I saw that video, I was like, holy shit, this is one of the most uninformed videos that he has ever done. Nerd, the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yes. So
I got a hold of Robert Meyer Burnett and Bill Hunt. And I said, guys, we have got to do a video in response to this and go through why most of these are bullshit. And then the ones that aren't bullshit, explain why they are the way they are. Bill didn't want anything to do with it. Mm-hmm. He saw it as feeding into some trolling. I'm like, no, you don't understand. This is the Angry Video Game Nerd. This isn't just some YouTube troll. Yeah. Robert understood exactly what I was getting at. Because he's like, oh, fuck, I love him. And then he watched the video. He's like, oh, yeah, no, this is because of this. So Robert understood right away what I was getting at. It's not even an attack video on what we were going to do is go down through his top 10 and say, this is why this is bullshit, this is bullshit, this is bullshit. This is why this is why this is, and this is why this is. So that's the shortest version of that story I can give you. Because a lot of those gripes in that are like the covers and a few other things. Like, yeah, we all gripe about that shit.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, man?
We still do.
But a lot of the little nitpicky shit that he came up with is like, dude, I understand where you're coming from, but you got to understand a lot of those people that were working in the video industry when DVD came out and was first big and huge, none of those people are working there anymore.
True.
Not only that, they put a fraction, and when I say a fraction, I mean a fucking fraction of what they used to in these releases comparatively. Right? Because you're also looking at where they would move hundreds of thousands of units of a DVD as opposed to where they're lucky if they can move tens of thousands of units when it comes to Blu-rays sometimes. So you got to look at that also as a overall, like, and this goes to the conversation you and I were having earlier with Mike about the cost of some of these things and why it's understandable why you're going to pay $40 or $50 for some of these boutique releases because of that reason. Because they have to figure out a way to amortize the cost some way. And it's just by making us customers pay a little bit more. Well, that's just what it's got to be. But, you know, those guys also do make sure they put a little extra oomph into their discs, too.
It's true. And it's also like Serial Midnight says, the best way to buy, you know, is to buy it. If you know, that's how you support those little companies like that, like Blue Underground and stuff. If you want those type of movies, you got to buy it.
Well, that's just it. We got to understand it's not all our faults, but it's just the general public's fault. They moved to streaming.
Yeah, there you go. You said that better.
60%, yeah.
Yeah, you said that better than I could about why I hate that video compared to you hit the points. It's exactly why. That's exactly why.
I mean, otherwise he does have some legitimate gripes, but there's reasons for it.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
So my conclusion is him saying like DVD is better is still technically wrong. You know, it's like, no, it's not. It never will be better.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true.
It's like comparing video to DVD is where we're at with comparing DVD to 4K now, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay, Runner, you want to go? You got when do you guys want to do the one that you guys got together?
That's up to him whenever he wants to, because he only has 4 titles. So
yeah.
Did anybody else have anything to say about Wayne's World though? Although I'm sure we'll talk about it again, and we lost him. We'll talk a little bit about Wayne's World.
I'm good. Talk a little bit about Wayne's World.
Well, I mean, you and I grew up when this movie came out. Like,
definitely, yeah.
It was like our era of a movie. Right?
I saw it in the theaters, just like you did.
I did.
Yeah. I love this movie. It was just one of those movies. It is weird because it's like a Saturday Night Live movie when Saturday Night Live was really good at the '90s.
It's weird that it's the most famous Saturday Night Live movie, as far as most successful, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just one of those movies that's just like hit at the right time and it kind of just took off. And it was just so funny. And Mike Myers and Dana Carvey was hilarious. Ed O'Neill. I loved seeing Ed O'Neill because I remember watching Married with Children. And when he takes the camera and he starts talking and then Wayne has to come back and he's like, no, this way. I love that scene. Too, yeah. I love it. And I fell on my keys. Go on without me.
Yeah. Well, what's beautiful about it is I watched it again today, probably for the first time in maybe 5 years. Surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had the Blu-rays forever and whatnot, and I swear I had the DVDs. I tried digging them up for tonight, but I don't know. I must have given them away or something at some point. Which I can't believe, but yeah, no, like you said, it was kind of like if this movie had come out maybe a year or two before, year or two after, totally different story. Just the fact that it happened to come out when it did, on the cusp of grunge, I think was the big reason why that also helped. It was right before Beavis and Butthead.
Yep.
So Wayne and Garth were kind of the last of the innocent duos, in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just something about them that had just this like incessant charm to them.
True. It's just like they really grew on you. Really good. It just,
and not only that, this movie specifically the jokes don't age, right? They're surprisingly very evergreen. As goofy, as juvenile as some of them are, I'm watching it, and the 2 notes that I made, the one joke that did not age well is during the bending to corporate sponsors, and that is just the Nuprin ad. Just the Newport part, because I'm like, that's the only part that nobody will get now, because we still have Doritos, we still have Pizza Hut, we still have Pepsi. You know, maybe Reebok is not nearly as big as it was back then.
Yeah, not
Newport
much.
is the only one of the jokes that most people won't get.
Right.
Other than that, like maybe the T2 joke, but most people have seen T2.
Yeah, so it still plays.
So yeah, outside of that, 99% of the jokes pretty much play in this movie still. There's not much that I can going through it. Like, you know, maybe some of the Sergeant York, Dick Sargent conversation, but even that still, like, it's a nerd funny. Like, that's the thing is these guys are nerds, right? That's what makes them different than Bill and Ted and the rest of the guys, right? These guys are flat out fucking nerds.
The thing is, like, I would agree with you because much like Beavis and Butthead and Wayne and Garth, there's legitimately people still like that to this day. That is still dressed in those jeans.
We are like that. That was us. That
exactly. And we'll listen to metal and Queen and rock and talk nerd stuff.
We were those guys when that movie came out.
Exactly.
Like me and my buddy were almost literally that dichotomy too. That's the weird thing. Like it was like he was more of a Garth, I was more of a Wayne. You know, you had that kind of a, you know, eventually it was like just, you know, he was kind of more in the tech stuff and the nerdy kind of that kind of nerdy side of stuff. I was more into the nerdy geek culture kind of stuff. So him and I both kind of had the same kind of, you know, like character types almost. It was weird. And he was a bit more introverted than I was and same kind of business. Yeah, as far as a movie goes, Larry, we're not talking about quality wise, but box office wise, Wayne's World's still the top.
Yeah, it was huge.
Because Blues Brothers actually didn't do very well when it first came out, and Coneheads flopped. Of course, its Pat is the worst of the bunch, I'm sure, by box office wise. And then middling ground, what else was there? There's like Night at the Roxbury, I think that did okay.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else was there. They did Superstar, but how did that one do? I don't remember.
I don't think Superstar did very well.
Ladies Man didn't do very well either.
No, Ladies Man. I think
I would say Ladies Man
though.
is one of the better ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's one of the better ones.
This is the Ladies Man.
Hey, can you hear me just fine?
We can hear you.
All right. Finally.
6. Yes, please.
Yeah, Dan. Even the Scooby-Doo jokes will still work because Scooby-Doo is still pretty.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like most of the references still play. Like that's the beauty of it. So, I mean, there is a world maybe where these references still don't play, where pop culture got better, but unfortunately for pop culture, unfortunately for Wayne's World, pop culture reverted because there's nothing to really do. So in that sense, it made Wayne's World just as relevant today, 5 years later, than it did when it first came out. Yeah,
it's true. It's true. I agree with you, man. And I was always more of a Garth, to be honest with you. So
I can see that. See?
Yeah, I'm the Garth of the group.
What's that over there?
It make me feel funny, like when I used to climb the rope in gym class.
Sometimes they want you to chase them. Want you to come get them. And then, of course, I love the sequel. The sequel never gets enough love.
I love the sequel too.
See, Garth gets some of the best. Yeah, not only that, but Garth gets some of the best bits in the sequel with Kim Basinger. I like them teeny and toasty.
Where do you want me to drive? I'm low on gas.
Or, take me, Garth. Where? I'm low on gas and you don't have a jacket.
Yeah, that's what that's. I love that. It's a good one. But Runner, you guys ready to show your next one?
Yeah, it's your turn, Runner.
Yes.
He's going to show that.
Robot Runner.
Get yours ready, Tom.
Wait, seriously?
Whatever
get yours ready because it's the same. Okay.
Are you ready?
Do it. Do it.
There you go.
Come on, kill him.
Yeah, this is a new 4K release. That's what I'm talking about. He's gonna bring it to. It's Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right.
Here I am,
stuck in the middle
with you. Cut my fucking ear off.
I love that movie. I love that movie. I wish I would have got mine.
Oh man, yeah, I feel bad for you, man. You ran into the Amazon Best Buy.
I did.
It's
and
still available at Best Buy, dude. That's what you should do.
I know I got to get down to Best Buy.
Yeah, just get
my
down to your
family.
Best Buy and make sure it's sitting there for you.
Because I could never get it to go through on Best Buy, so I did Amazon, and then Amazon said like, "You'll get it December 22nd."
Coolest looking fucking. This is probably
Steel.
I love that.
This has. I mean, I've thought about this a few times, but this almost made this like we're gonna have to do the 4K for You awards this year.
There you go.
And I'm gonna have not only us, but a bunch of like people. I'm gonna try and get like Robert Meyer Burnett, Bill Hunt, and others who work at Digital Bits, and anybody I can get. If you can get Serial Midnight to vote on it, that'd be great. I want some of the best minds in the industry to vote on their favorites for the year. Like we're gonna do best cover, best classic release, best new release, best special edition, what have you. We'll come up with all the categories. Because I'll tell you right now, this is the front runner right now for best steelbook.
It looks awesome.
Oh God, yeah.
Like at this moment in time, it's going to be a tough one to beat. Because just between that alone, like it's just amazing. And then of course, once you take it out of it, it looks beautiful. And you get the new remastered disc as you know, Runner was just showing you there, plus the 4K. Now it looks beautiful, sounds great. Does seem like there's a bit of DNR on here, but not much to really complain too much about, so I'm not gonna bitch about it too much. What I will gripe about is that we don't. I mean, it has all the same special features as this Horror release. For those who may not remember, this is barely an upgrade over the old DVD, which is right here. And this was for a while probably the definitive release. And Runner actually has a better version of it than I do because I didn't get the slipcover.
I got the slipcover with Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown, yeah. And they did, at that time, they did different slipcovers, but I missed out on the slipcover, evidently. And of course, this, for the longest time, it still is technically the best version as far as special features, because this has a bunch of stuff from at Sundance, interviews, the EPK stuff from when the time the movie came out. I think it has a lot more trailers, obviously. You get all the different versions of the soundtrack, which that's my other gripe here, is you don't get the original 2.0 soundtrack at all. Or the DTS X soundtrack that was on this version and the other version.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that part's missing, but the soundtrack is fine. I'm not going to bitch too much about that. The deleted scenes are the only thing that made it over, but there's just some other cool stuff that's on here that just didn't make it over that I really wish had. Like outtakes from the KBILOI, K-Billy stuff with Stephen Wright. That is really funny and cool to have. And stuff like that. So like that to me was kind of a, like, how do you not get that shit on here? But whatever. Yeah. I can understand some of the Sundance stuff. Like even within the Sundance stuff, they've got like some screen test stuff. Like they've got Steve Buscemi playing like, what's his face? Madsen's role and shit, for instance.
Oh yeah.
Like, so like there's different stuff like that. So like, yeah, it's not, is it a perfect definitive release? No. But is it the best the movie's ever looked and probably ever will look? Yes.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
As far as that goes. Now, it's not up to snuff as far as like Studio Canal seems to be getting their shit in the bag. Lionsgate, on the other hand, still a little bit with like, still getting a little DNR happy, if you ask me. But this one's not as bad as some movies have been, I would say. Because supposedly this was overseen by Tarantino. But most of it's from the negative. The one scene that really blew my mind that is not from the negative, and I can't believe it, is the most famous shot in the movie, and that is the Mexican standoff shot.
Oh.
It's not from the negative, because you can tell it goes from those two shots of the two main shots of the Mexican standoff to the reverse angle when it's Steve Buscemi goes over to grab the diamonds. That shot's from the negative, but the two preceding shots are not, and you can clearly tell. Because it's a big jump in quality. But other than that, like 90% of the time, it's from the negative. So you can tell that.
Oh, there you go.
But no, it's a great flick. The deleted scenes are even great that are on it. Those I can't recommend checking out enough if you haven't already. Because they do give you just a little bit more insight on things that weren't in the film. But no, it's a great fucking flick. And I know Runner loves it too. So I'm going to let him talk about it a little bit.
Go ahead, Runner.
Yeah, I watched parts of the movie on 4K. Only because I've been like busy and I've wanted to see like what the transfer looks like. It's beautiful. I didn't own that 15th anniversary Blu-ray because I heard bad things about it, and I knew the 4K was coming out, so I'm like, I'm gonna get the 4K. Yeah, I mean, it's a great movie. I need to watch the whole thing again in its like full like runtime, because honestly, after watching like parts of it again, like Steve Buscemi is like his character is probably the best in this movie. Like he
Why'd
cracks
I
me
gotta
the
be
fuck
Mr.
up.
Pink?
Like
How about
like
Mr.
the like
Purple?
the whole no the whole bit about tipping and all that is hilarious.
I don't tip.
Like in the beginning,
You
he's like,
don't tip.
I don't believe in it. Like, and his whole explanation, all that, and like the way, like
She's like, dick, dick, dick,
like
dick,
the
dick,
way they
dick, dick.
respond. Like, I mean,
How many dicks is that? A lot.
Go on, Runner.
nah, like Tom was cutting out from my end, which is probably my internet's fault. But no, it's a great movie. I mean, great dialogue from Tarantino. And yeah, I mean, and I think, what other scenes did I watch? I watched the part where Michael Madsen dances and cuts that guy's ear off.
It's a great scene.
That's iconic for
Yeah.
that
All
movie
I know is we got a
anyway. And then I
fucking
saw
rat.
the scene with then I watched like part of the scene where was Tim Roth was talking to that one dude in the restaurant.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a good movie.
But
I
yeah,
can't wait to get mine.
Yeah, but overall, I did like the 4K for the most part from what I've seen, and it's a damn good cast. Probably one of his best, even to this day.
It is.
Um,
It's one of his finest. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, and I did not know James Wood was considered for Tim Roth's role in Reservoir Dogs. I did not know that. Brian Barth, and he also says James Wood once he found out, he fired his agent for declining it. So I did not know that. And I agree with you, Dan Blackroy. Steve
crazy.
Buscemi is good in nearly everything he does.
All I know is we got a fucking rat. I know I ain't the fucking rat. I know Mr. Blonde, he ain't the fucking rat. He's too fucking crazy. But I don't know about you or anybody else. What are you trying to say? I'm a fucking rat? How do I know you're not the fucking rat? Now you're making some goddamn sense.
Perfect. I love that. I want to watch it. Damn it!
Those
I
cops
want
are
to
fucking
watch
waiting
it.
for us. All right, 4 minutes, at least 4 minutes. Unless you got a squad car coming down the street at the same damn time. Maybe if you're lucky. But in any situation, you got 4 minutes. Those cops are waiting for us. I know it.
Greg,
It's been so long since I've seen it. I want to see it so bad.
Greg, do yourself a favor. Go to your Best Buy and get yourself a copy of Reservoir Dogs.
You're not gonna fucking die. Say it with me. You're not gonna fucking die.
I need to get out there and get it.
I'm not gonna fucking die.
Larry, I would say Steve Buscemi is as good in Armageddon as he is in anything.
Unapologetically love Armageddon.
I love that movie too. So
it's everything that's wrong with movies, but it's still great.
It's fun. I don't know why Tarantino and Buscemi never reunited after Pulp Fiction.
I don't know if they just never ended up.
Maybe they didn't.
He was supposed to. No, I think he was actually meant to play. Here's the thing: Samuel Jackson was originally supposed to play his role.
Oh, really?
But Buscemi ended up getting it over him, and because of that, Tarantino promised him a role in Pulp Fiction. Now, there was a role meant. I think there was a role meant for Buscemi in Pulp Fiction. Can't remember which one it was though now. Because Michael Madsen was originally going to play Vincent Vega too as well. But then that changed. Basically, because they were originally meant to be brothers. That's what the whole thing was going to be. Is he was going to have him play his own brother. And then that changed once they got Tarantino or Travolta involved. God. Maybe it was the Bruce Willis role. I think maybe Buscemi was up for originally. But yeah, he was the. Oh, that's right, Brian. He was the Buddy Holly waiter in it. And then but no, there was another time they were supposed to work together again, and I can't remember what it was. I think he was supposed to be in Jackie Brown as well, but it just didn't work out. I think he was making Fargo at that time or something like that. Maybe not, but something like that. He was working on something else. I can't remember.
It's
Whatever
crazy.
would have been in that era. Fargo would have been a little later, so it would had to be. What else did he make in that time period? I'm trying to think. Because that was when Buscemi was kind of getting hot on his own.
Right. Well, maybe you never know before Quentin Tarantino hangs it up, or like he says he's going to, maybe they'll reunite for one more movie. That'd be kind of interesting. Bookend it with Buscemi. So there you go.
Well,
First
movie
movie and last movie.
Tarantino, he doesn't always work with the same actors every film, right?
That's true.
Samuel Jackson's been his one mainstay that's in just about everything.
Mhm.
Some of them will come back, come and go. Like Michael Madsen has been in like three sets of his films.
Mhm.
Rothman's been in 3. Trying to think of who else. Technically, Kurt Russell's been in 2 now.
Yeah. Well, no. Technically, he's been in
Leo
3.
and Brad, he's worked with 2.
Kurt Russell's been in 3, wouldn't you say?
What did he do for the third one?
He did Hateful Eight,
That's right.
Death Proof, and
I forgot he was in. I totally forgot he was in Hollywood. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's
Totally
a stunt
spaced
guy.
that out. Totally spaced that out. For some dumb reason, I don't even know why I did. I was just go, duh. Yeah, so he's been in 3 now. Because Travolta's the only one he hasn't worked with more than once, and I don't think he did with Ving Rhames again either. Did he?
No, I don't think he did. I don't think Ving Rhames has
Bruce
been in
Willis, no.
it. No.
I'd like to see him work with Michael Keaton again, because he didn't really get to work with him very much.
Yeah, that'd have been cool. Cool.
And that's the other thing. He always tends to find a good, somebody to kind of revive their career, like he did in Jackie Brown for what's his face, Forrester, Robert Forrester.
Yeah, Robert Forster.
And then and of course he's worked with what's his face, who just recently passed away here too, quite a few times. Oh shit, what's his name? The guy who played the cop from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of his name either. But I know who you're
Great
talking about.
actor, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was another one. He kind of gave him a little bit of a revival on his career.
Mm-hmm.
People even forget that Daryl Hannah at the time she was in Kill Bill wasn't exactly.
Yeah, she wasn't very.
Exactly A-list actress anymore either.
Kind of done.
Yeah, Michael Parks. Thank you, Dan.
There you go, Michael Parks.
See, Michael Parks was one of the guys besides Samuel Jackson that seemed to just chew on. Like, there's the 3 guys that seem to chew on Tarantino's dialogue the best. Of course, are Samuel Jackson, Michael Parks, and Christoph Waltz.
Yes.
Those 3 guys know how to do Tarantino.
They understood
material.
the assignment.
I agree with that.
Now, Rothman, on the other hand, he is one of the worst, even though he's worked with him the most. And hear me out here, and this is why I say this. I love Roth. I love him.
Mm-hmm.
But he is literally doing... Yeah, Tim Roth. Did I say Rothman? I'm sorry.
You said Rothman.
I was talking about Tom. Yeah, I was talking about Tom Rothman earlier today. That's why. Tim Roth, on the other hand, he's one of the worst working with Tarantino, even though I love him and love him in the movies. He's literally doing an impersonation of Tarantino and everything he's doing except for Hateful Eight. That's the thing. In Reservoir Dogs, he's doing Tarantino. Right. Like, I mean, he's playing the Cockney kind of guy or whatever in Pulp Fiction. And then, but like, even in kind of like Hateful Eight, he's just kind of there, kind of basically. I almost thought he was Christoph Waltz the first time I saw it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Tim Roth, not Christoph Waltz. They look so much alike. I was like, yeah, but like he just in Reservoir Dogs, that's not one of it's a great performance by Tim Rothman, but it's like dude's just doing Tarantino. Like he's literally probably just getting fed the lines the way Tarantino wants them, and he's saying them the way he says.
Mm-hmm. It's true. With Dan Blackray says, I think Walken too. Is Christopher Walken in any Tarantino? Did I miss something?
He's been in Pulp Fiction.
Oh, that's right.
The Watch.
It's been a while.
Well, see, Walken has his own. Walken just makes anything his own. No matter who wrote it. There's just a way that he does it. Kind of like Shatner. They just have their own way of doing it.
They have their own little style that can't be copied.
Just watch my ass. He is.
But I'm excited. I can't wait to get my Reservoir Dogs on 4K. I'm really looking forward
Well, that's
to
right.
that.
He was in True Romance.
That's
exactly
right. I'm surprised Runner didn't chime in there.
Yeah, that's right.
His internet
Although he
must have
technically
gone.
didn't direct it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Any final words? Should I move on to me or Runner? Do you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah. What else about? I could talk about Tarantino all day. So
I know.
I got nothing much. I gotta rewatch it, and it's like full whenever I have like the actual time to do it. You know,
it was the pain. The reminder of being a virgin.
'Cause I don't get a whole lot of time to watch movies nowadays.
It's hard. It can be hard.
So I had to watch like parts of it just to see how it really looked, and I wanted to watch like the best parts of the movie.
Oh no, you guys are not picking. Last time we did that, everybody wanted to be Mr. Black, and don't nobody know each other, so they don't want to back down.
Nice.
What about Mr. Purple? That don't sound so bad. I'll be Mr. Purple. I'm fine with that. You're not Mr. Purple. Mr. Purple's on another job. You're Mr. Pink.
I'm now I know how Tom feels when I bring
I got
something.
Big
Runner
Dick in
brings
one
something.
ear over here, and I got Tommy fucking Chong in the other ear. Tommy Chong, Tommy Ching, Jackie fucking Chan, or whatever. What the fuck do you say?
Yeah,
Not Jackie
like
Chan. Jesus Christ. Charlie fucking Chan. That's what it is. Toby Woo, Toby Wong.
Okay.
Oh man, you gotta love Tarantino.
Are you gonna shut up and stop reading it at the table? No, I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want, and I can't give you this book back. It's my book.
Oh man, that's good stuff. I'm really excited to get mine and watch it. I'm really, really excited. I guess we'll go to me now for my next pick. I brought a VHS. Yes, I know, VHS, but I've been buying sort of what I do when I can't buy a lot of new Blu-rays and 4Ks. I tend to buy VHSs for really cheap.
I was telling you, he started the Chicago fucking fire, but that doesn't necessarily make it fucking so. You forgot about mentioning Sean Penn. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Sorry, I love Sean Penn.
I got
Wrong brother died.
It's true.
Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt, the Robert Zemeckis collection on VHS. It features All Through the House, which Christmas is, Yellow, and You Murderer. This was actually brand new. It still got the thing for 3 free or 1 good free EC comics.
Cool.
It's expired now, though.
Damn.
Expired in December 31st, 1997. So
damn, that's actually later than I thought it'd be.
Yeah. So I saw this. This was actually I wish we'd get the Blu-rays, and you can't even watch this on HBO Max. You can't even watch them on HBO Max, which is I don't get it.
They need to remaster that shit.
They do.
I have the DVD collection. It looks okay, but it's clearly from video. But it's like these shows need a remastering.
That's what I would love to see that. But I love this. Like I said, it contains All Through the House, which we know is the Santa Claus one, which is actually a take on the story from the actual movie, the other movie and the comic. Yellow features Eric Douglas and Dan Aykroyd and Kirk Douglas. It takes place during World War II, I believe. Kirk Douglas is a general. His son, Eric Douglas, is a coward. And Dan Aykroyd is, like his Kirk Douglas's, guy, second in command or whatever. And then You Murderer, which is hilarious. It's probably my least favorite one on this one. And it has a great cast, is what's sad about it. It's got John Lithgow, Sherilyn Fenn, and Isabella Rossini. And I think I said that name right. And Humphrey Bogart. So it was made at the time he was doing Forrest Gump, which is why
I remember that.
Forrest Gump there. They use Humphrey Bogart's image and has him star in the episode and it's really bad.
Yeah,
The-
they made a big deal out of it at the time. But.
Yeah, the face on it, it's just like an image that doesn't move and it doesn't match on the dude at all. And the whole episode is just shot through the camera, with the hands, like Michael Myers in the beginning of Halloween. So I was a little disappointed. I think I remember watching it on TV and being disappointed then. And then when I rewatched it now, I was a little more disappointed with it because it's such a great cast and a decent idea. It's just before its time, I guess you could say. Right.
No, yeah, I love Tales from the Crypt. It's kind of on the higher end of all the anthology shows at that time.
Right.
And actually, I guess you could call it it was kind of the Rolls Royce of them all. You had all the big directors and big actors and just kind of the style it had all of its own and the longevity it had being on HBO, being able to be more adult, actually having, unrated content and whatnot. And the Crypt Keeper was just
awesome.
Genius.
Freaking hilarious.
Believe it or not, Crypt Keeper is the child of Chucky.
Yes.
Because the bits and pieces that the Crypt Keeper is made up of were cobbled up from Chucky from Child's Play 2.
Yep. So they took the eyes and everything.
Yep.
Yes, I remember the animated series too. It was fun too.
That was strange.
Fun. It was strange, but it was fun. I actually found 2 of the VHSs, and that one they were both brand new, but that one was open. The other one is unopened, and I didn't put it in my VHS haul video, but I didn't really read the back of it. I just saw it, and I was like, oh shit, I'm buying these. They were like 50 cents, and when I got the second one home and I read the back of it, the first one stars Christopher Reeve and Meatloaf.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah. I am so glad I got this. And it's also got another connection because the last episode.
Out my DVDs, man.
Yeah, I know. I was wanting to get the DVD set now because I only had the first season on DVD because I'd been waiting for Blu-ray. And I'm tired of waiting, so I'm going to end up buying the DVD.
I would think it's got to be soon on fucking HBO's list.
I would think, and like I said, you can't even watch it on HBO Max, so whatever. But
they got Lois and Clark and a few other ones up there now. It's like, okay, Tales from the Crypt's got to be high up.
It's got to come, right? And that was the other thing is like the last episode on the second VHS with the Christopher Reeve and Meatloaf stars John Shea, who played Lex Luthor from Lois and Clark. So and a nice little Superman thing. I was really excited to find that.
So I even segued into that and didn't even know it.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, that was my I actually watched that last night, all 3 of them episodes.
And most of them, from my recollection, outside of that episode you were talking about with the Forrest Gump type of technology they used to bring in Bogart, that's the only episode I could see probably having a huge issue with transferring over into HD because like it was all done in camera stuff. It was none of that stuff was digital effects. There might have been a few optical effects, but it still probably would have been done on film from my recollection. I'd have to go back and look, but
yeah, they like used a film image from Casablanca is what they used. So
but the thing is, it's probably trapped in 480p is my point because
probably
of the effects at the time. Unless they did finish it in full resolution, that could very well be.
But they also have Alfred Hitchcock in that episode too. So
yeah.
So.
But like otherwise, I know the show was shot on film and everything. So I mean, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be able to upgrade it quite easily just by scanning all the episodes. I mean,
I know because I was watching the second one, Yellow, with Kirk Douglas. Talk about production value, man. That felt like a World War II movie.
Well, no, they're basically like high-end production. It was one of HBO's first big shows. Like, I mean, at that time, they hadn't done like The Sopranos or anything like that. They had done a few comedies. Like they had, like not necessarily the news. Like the Gary Shandling show had been on by that point.
Singled Out? No, that wasn't. That was something different.
No, I'm sure that the Kids in the Hall was probably already on at that point. Like a lot of that kind of stuff, right? Nothing that was like full on. They had a few family series, but I think a lot of those were imported, to be honest with you, because they had like Anne of Green Gables and they had a few other ones. Like they had a lot of family series. So there they had been spending some money if those weren't imported, all of them. But I know some of them were in-house. then all of a sudden they started doing shit like Tales from the Crypt. And Tales from the Crypt was the first time they did anything that was like really high end for a series. And they shot these like movies. And that was, I remember when they started doing it, they made a big deal about it because you had like Robert Zemeckis and all those guys involved with it and stuff like that. And, it was a very prestigious show for HBO at that time. I remember it being their first big foray into expensive television, if I'm not mistaken.
I agree. Yeah. And
I could be missing something, but unless I'm not, like that was to me from my recollection, the beginning of what led us to the road down that led to like Sopranos and Deadwood and shit like that eventually.
Yes, I believe you're correct because I remember that was being that launched HBO. I almost said HBO Max, but yeah, that was like what really launched HBO was
Because like I said, they had comedy shows and kids programming, like they had Fraggle Rock and a few other things I remember at that point.
Yeah,
but like, unless somebody can remind me of something earlier than that was a high-end TV series out of HBO, that's the first one I can remember that wasn't like a comedy show. It was basically sitcom level or kids show.
Mm-hmm. I just like I said, I really hope they do the Blu-ray eventually. But yeah, I'm tired of waiting, so I think I'm gonna eventually. It's only like $30 for the whole series on DVD.
If it's down to that now, I'd grab it because I paid like $129 for it.
Yeah, it's down to $30 right now. I seen it on brand new for $30. I can't remember where, but I was like, yeah, that's a good price.
Even if you gotta rebuy it, fuck it.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if I'm spending $30 for all 7 seasons on DVD and then they come out with the Blu-ray a couple months later, I'm fine with that because
it's gonna at least be a year or more.
Yeah, it's gonna be a year more. I'm fine with that.
We'd have heard about it by now.
Because after watching those 3 episodes last night, I really want to go back and watch the show again because I didn't remember Yellow, but I remember All Through the House, and I'm pretty sure I remember the Humphrey Bogart one. But yeah, I was so excited to find those on VHS. It just made me want the Blu-rays even more. So yeah, that was one of my watches. But who wants to go next? Runner, Tom, who wants to go next?
I don't know.
I could probably bop one in here real quick.
Yeah, you got more stuff, so you can do that.
That's the show I was thinking of, Tom. Dream On, not Singled Out. Dream On.
Yeah, but see, that was still more of a sitcom too.
Yeah.
Although I do think it had a bit more of a.
I remember seeing lots of boobs on
budget.
it. So.
All right, this one, I don't know if it's out yet officially or not, but I got mine in the mail last week. I still haven't fully taken the plastic off of it.
Oh yeah, Mystery Man,
which has been released a couple times already. And I remember when this DVD came out, it was pretty damn good DVD. This was a pretty, pretty cool DVD when it first came out. And it looks like I did look at this again. There is some stuff that was missing between transfers. Yeah, you might want to hang on to this. Because not all of that is carried over here. Because what is carried over here is what was on the Blu-ray, not the DVD. But there's some more stuff on the DVD than what was on the Blu-ray. But outside of that, we do get some new stuff on this Blu-ray. It's 4K, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks fucking amazing. This is a really great looking Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray for that matter. It pops. The colors are great. Of course, it was late 90s when it was made, so by that point, they'd kind of really figured out how to shoot film. So, I mean, and it doesn't look like they did any major DNR or anything like that on it. It comes from Universal Scan, but it's clearly from the negative. Even some of the CGI heavier stuff looks decent. Because a lot of that's just like the city, so it's all stylized kind of anyway. Mm-hmm. So it really fits the movie. We were talking about a little earlier. I mean, I feel like the movie was a bit ahead of its time. I clearly feel like if it had come out a few years later, I think it'd have really been a big hit. But
it would have. Yeah, it just didn't quite. I don't think people quite understood it. And from my from understanding, they're actually based on actual comic book characters from a carrot. What's it called? Something carrot. I can't remember what the
actually Flaming Carrot, and I actually
Flaming
have some
Carrot,
of those with the Ninja Turtles in them.
Yeah.
But like in fact, they have one of the things that didn't get carried over to this new release is a featurette called "The Origin of Mystery Men Comic Book Characters," which is one of the featurettes, along with the music video for All Star.
Hey, now you're an
Because
all-star.
for most people, they think, "Oh, that came from Shrek." No, it didn't.
Nope, Mystery Man.
It came from Mystery Men first. In fact, if you watch the video, you will see that, which is on the DVD, but not on the subsequent releases.
Hey, we got a 90s comedy coming out. Who do we get? Smash Mouth.
Yeah. Actually, that song has a funny history to it.
Really?
It wasn't meant to get released when it did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know where I heard this story, if it was somebody at school, one of my teachers, or if it was maybe on this commentary or something like that of this disc. Because it does have a director's commentary on it. But a DJ, one of the promoters for the studio had brought in an early copy of the song because they hadn't finished the album yet. For those who don't know, this would have been Smash Mouth's second studio album. And he played All Star. And of course, it was also set to be on the soundtrack to Mystery Men. This is going to be the lead-off single. Wasn't meant to be released yet. He liked it so much, he threw it on the radio. He kept getting requests for it. So it like kind of became a hit before it was even meant to be released.
There you go.
It was just one of those songs that once the DJ heard it, he's like, "That's a top 10 hit." He goes, "Fuck, that's a number 1 hit."
Yep, got it. But yeah, Mystery
Man. The song
Man
actually predated the movie a little bit because of that. They ended up releasing the song a bit earlier, so I think that's what helped. Didn't help the movie, because it was supposed to come out in tandem with the film, and it
didn't help the movie. And the movie was actually a bomb, wasn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, did not do very well at the box office. Sad to say.
2 hands there, son. 2 hands.
Oh, I love this movie though. It's a great film. Who put the Blu-ray out? The original one or the new one? Kino Lorber released it this time, but Universal does their own scans.
Yeah.
But I have every previous release of it too. But for some reason, when they moved it to Blu-ray, they didn't carry over all the stuff from the DVD. Because that was the thing I was talking about earlier. Is I remember when this DVD came out, this was a, not just for special features, but just for quality wise, this was like a reference quality DVD when this came out.
Right.
Looks wise and sound wise, because it just sounded great, looked great, being a newer film, the way it was shot and everything like that. It just remember it popping on DVD back in the day.
Yeah, I remember.
It's
been a while since I've seen it.
I shovel very well.
What's your superpower? Pull my finger.
No. Wait, you guys are putting together a superhero team.
That was his big comeback movie, because that was
one of them.
Yeah, one of them. So
he's great. The cast is amazing in this, which is
It's a great cast too.
Yeah, the Blue Raja.
I still need to watch that one.
You never seen this before, Runner?
I've heard of it.
It's great.
Maybe I wasn't sure if I would like it, but since
I think you will.
Since you like it, that makes me a little more excited.
Oh, it'd be something right up your alley, Runner. I think you'd really enjoy it.
I mean, the basic concept is it's a group of superheroes who have no fucking powers
at all. This is like,
okay.
In fact, they're kind of a joke.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's Mr. Furious, whose power is he gets very angry.
Mm-hmm.
There's the shoveler who just uses a shovel. It's just that's his power. He doesn't really have a power.
The chick
the Blue Raja, he throws cutlery. And then you got, the only one who really has any real power is between the Spleen, which is Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman's character, because he got his powers from a gypsy who cursed him.
Quick. I have a question. Would you compare it to the specials?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much in line with the specials. And of course, Janine Garofalo kind of has powers, but it's more so her dad who has powers.
Yeah, because his skulls and the bowling ball.
And of course,
I did like the specials, so that's why I asked.
The what's his face? God, I can't remember his damn name as a character, but Wes Studi, the character, his character actually does have powers too.
Oh yeah, and then Keenan from
That's so
Keenan and
stupid.
Kel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the one big movie he's in besides, kind of that I
yeah.
can think of, and it didn't work out too
He
well for
turns
him.
invisible as long as nobody's looking at him. So
Yeah.
that was supposedly as his power. But I like
You can
Greg
only do
Kinnear.
it when nobody's looking.
Yeah, like you said, it's ahead of his time. And Greg Kinnear kind of is like, I mean, I haven't really watched the show, but I kind of feel like he's from the guy from The Boys a little bit.
Kind of, sort of. It's a very
Yeah.
similar-ish character from my understanding. I haven't seen The
Yeah.
Boys, but
Neither have
he's
I.
kind of a prototypical version of that.
Yeah,
in a way. Yeah.
and then
See, now
Jeffrey.
Film Watcher got that fucking song stuck in his head. Sorry.
Yes, and then Jeffrey Rush as the bad guy is perfect.
Great.
He plays it great in that movie.
Well, you've got what's his
Casanova
face?
something or whatever.
Well, he's Casanova Frankenstein.
Yeah, Casanova Frankenstein.
But you've got Tom Waits, of course, is kind of like their he's their gadget guy, which he's great in it. But you
it's
also
just
got
Tom Waits in a superhero
Eddie
movie.
Izzard playing probably one of the most butch roles Eddie Izzard ever has been. Right? Like it's kind of weird seeing it now, considering if you know who Eddie Izzard is.
Yes.
Like that, it's like, oh my god, he's acting too macho and manly. It's weird.
Yeah.
He's not wearing high heels. I mean, he's wearing higher heels, but not high heels.
He's dressing like a man.
He's just like a man.
Oh man, I haven't seen that movie in years. I've heard really good things about the 4K.
It's a movie that definitely doesn't take itself seriously, Runner. And it's very much in the tone of the specials.
Yeah, because I did like the specials. I thought that was quite good.
Then you'll like this.
Because to me, it just the way you're describing it's like it feels like a higher budget version of the specials.
Kind of. You know, like in a way, that's not too far off, but
yeah. Because I remember like
not as raunchy as the specials.
Okay, yeah, because the specials, I mean, was like that was like, I mean, it's I like
the way this is the thing is this is like almost like Guardians of the Galaxy type level. Had this come out right around that time, it'd have been a huge hit.
Yeah.
Or right after like Avengers or something like that. So it's kind of like the perfect mix between that, like that Guardians of the Galaxy tone, because it is serious. It's not like, because specials doesn't really take itself as seriously, right?
No.
Like this actually does kind of have that level of verisimilitude to it, but it also isn't taking itself so seriously that it isn't straight up, like it's still a comedy.
Yeah.
But it's not like R-rated, over the top satire either.
It's a comedy where it's like you got Ben Stiller as like the guy who gets angry, the shoveler William H. Macy. It's like these characters are the comedic characters, but the world they live in is actually a very serious world.
Yes,
and that's how you get the comedy to come through. So, like Casanova Frankenstein is a legit villain who's legitimately going to fuck them up. So, but the thing is, they're so inept and funny. It just
I almost gave away one of the best bits in the
I know.
You said that. What happens to Greg Kinnear's character?
Yeah.
I was standing over here the whole time.
Good night, Brian Barth. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us. But
yeah, what do you mean we? I was standing here the whole time.
It is good. It's a fun movie. I haven't seen it in a while.
It's one of Janine Garofalo's best too, as far as that goes. Like she's one I can give her take on a lot of things, but her in this is probably actually I'd probably say this is probably her best performance outside of she was pretty good in that Cats and Dogs movie too, but like this is probably her best ever, I'd imagine. I
kind of liked her and Romeo and Michelle.
Daughter. I mean, I like Romeo and Michelle, but like to me,
it's not.
Like,
it's not one of my. It's not something I want to repeat once. But
it's like Wayne's World for girls.
Yeah,
or Bill and Ted for girls.
Oh, you know which one I did like her, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. Have you ever seen the movie Bye Bye Love?
I think so.
It's got Paul Reiser, Matthew Modine, Randy Quaid.
Long time ago though.
Yeah, she's kind of it's funny in that because she goes out on a date with Randy Quaid and they play really well off each other as like the date from hell. She's like the date from hell. So
yeah, I mean, she used to be pretty good, but then like I swear it's like basically whenever her and Ben Stiller broke up, she went like ape shit nuts.
Yeah, I mean, he upgraded. She got mad.
Oh well, yeah. Clearly.
Now
I'm down to 1, 2. Yeah, I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4 titles now. So
I'm down to 2. So
okay, so now it's Runner's turn, I think, or your turn.
Runner, you want to go, or do you need to get out of here or anything?
No, I can go.
Okay.
This next one, I just watched this. I think Saturday night, like late, like very late at night. You know, it might have been Sunday actually, because I watched this in like 1 a.m. I'm not even kidding. I couldn't sleep that night, but I bought this on 4K. I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought. I know Tom loves this movie. I assume Greg loves this movie too.
I hated it.
I bet you did.
You know I had to say it.
I know.
Hated it.
Two snaps around the world.
Yeah. Sorry, Runner. Go ahead.
It's a Jim Henson movie. So.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Labyrinth.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Oh,
there he goes. Labyrinth. Plus, what's her name's in it, and that's when about the time she was still really smoking hot. So.
Oh my God, yeah. Jennifer Connelly. And she still looks great now. If you watch Top Gun Maverick.
Have you ever seen the movie Career Opportunities?
No, I want to though.
You got to see. I love that movie, and plus that's like the hottest she ever was.
I saw clips
Kino
of it.
Put that out.
Yep, Kino did. Yep.
I saw clips of the movie. I think on YouTube. And I'm like, damn, yeah. I need to watch this whole movie one day.
Labyrinth. Yeah, Labyrinth is a great flick. David Bowie, the Goblin King.
Yeah,
the puppets are creepy. It's great.
Yeah,
you gotta wonder about a man with a bulge that big though in front of a 16-year-old girl. I'm just gonna say.
She became a woman that day.
Something. No, I love that movie. It's great.
No,
great music. Very well constructed by Frank Oz or Jim Henson and George Lucas, and Henson's son actually played a big part in it.
George Lucas was a part of this too.
He's a producer, yeah. The time at the box office wise, it didn't do all that great, but it definitely has a huge cult following, and the fact that Sony endlessly releases it is proof of that. Yeah. I have no less than like 3 or 4 copies myself.
It's a good movie though. That's one I have not seen for a while myself again, but it is a good movie. What do you make of the sequel? Are they still moving ahead on that?
I hope the fuck not.
I hope they don't either.
How can you make another one without David Bowie?
Yeah,
exactly.
How?
That's what I was wondering. How are you going to do that?
How would you even? It doesn't even set up for a sequel. Like, I don't get it. Why would you do that?
It's just where they're reaching for franchises. You know, they can't create anything new.
There's nothing in that even I don't care if you get Jennifer Connelly back. That's not to me the draw.
Yeah.
To me, another story would be another new person, new girl, whatever, being drawn into the labyrinth, and David Bowie would be the connecting factor. Right?
You'd have to have him as the Goblin
and all
King,
that shit, like all the characters, right? Like whether it's Jennifer Connelly's daughter, what have you, I don't give a shit. But like my point is, without David Bowie, you just say fuck it. There's no sequel here. It's not sequelizable.
Right, it doesn't work.
I know that's not a word, but I just fucking made it up.
There you go. Copyright that shit.
Sequelizable.
Deleted scenes. You should watch it whenever you can. It's good.
Yes, it's good. I didn't know Gates McFadden did the choreographed the dance sequences. I did not know that. I remember
hearing that before. Yeah, it's like Paula Abdul actually used to do dance choreography in movies before.
Yeah, I knew that one. Yeah,
Karate Kid 3 actually was one of her last movies she did it for before she became famous.
Yes, Dark Crystal is awesome. I still never watched
Dark
the Netflix
Crystal,
show.
which had a Netflix show, does actually lend itself a little bit more to sequelizing, or
Sort of, yeah.
well, sequelizing actually being a real word,
Yes.
or prequelizing.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I need to.
I've heard great things about it, but I wasn't as much of a Dark Crystal fan as I was of Labyrinth. See, that's the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked the atmosphere and the design of Dark Crystal, but Labyrinth was always just fun. And I love little rubber monsters, so the goblins and shit for me were kind of like, they scared the hell out of me as a
That's
little
what I was
kid
about to say.
at
The
that
Labyrinth scared the shit out of me. The puppets, the monsters. I always remembered that. It always, yeah. So that's a sign of a good movie, though. Like good designs and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like, go ahead.
Oh, my bad. No, you go.
No, I was gonna say it's like Jim Henson knew how to design these creatures in this world and how it mixed it with David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly and kidnapping the kid, and it all works very well.
Yeah, like they just like one day at Best Buy they just stocked these Labyrinth 4K.
I think that's the new. Does it have the Dolby Vision on it? If it is, then that's the newer version. Yeah.
Is it the new? Is it?
Look at the bottom there. Does it say Dolby Vision on it? That has been released twice now on 4K.
Yeah, and Tom got the new good one.
I have the new one and the old one, but I gave away my old one.
Yeah.
I don't see anywhere where it says Dolby Vision.
It's probably just a re-release of the other one.
Yeah.
Which that's the only difference is it doesn't have Dolby Vision on it. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, the only other difference is they put it in a fancier case and all that. They have re-released that movie so many fucking times. I've literally had.
This is a really thin fucking case.
It was one of the very first DVDs I bought. And then they came out with a special edition on DVD, and then they came out with an anniversary edition on DVD to go with the first Blu-ray. Then it was released again on Blu-ray, and then when they did this 4K, they released it again on Blu-ray. And now we have this new 4K edition. So that's no less than 6 releases of that movie on disc, at least. Not to mention the various in between ones where they just changed the cover, probably.
It's just. Hey, when something keeps selling, man, you got to keep putting it out there.
Oh, they do. They keep selling.
It just says Dolby Atmos and Dolby Audio. That's it.
Yeah, then probably it's the older, which is fine. You're not missing anything really. I mean, I can't remember. I'd have to look. I've got so many different like I have like 5 copies of it myself. I've given away just about as many.
No, because was it Best Buy, like they stocked some of these back and Dark Crystal. I didn't get Dark Crystal.
How do the puppets hold up in 4K?
What's up?
How do the puppets and everything hold up in 4K?
Because I've never watched optical shots. I think from my recollections, I watched it like 2 years ago. It looked fine.
Okay, I was curious about that because
like some of the stuff is like the
like
guys that tear themselves apart.
Yeah.
Like clearly that stuff was done optically, so you can tell there's some degradation there. But otherwise, most of it is first generation. And since a lot of it's done in camera, there was very little opticals in the movie. I mean, there's some, but not like comparatively to a lot of shit. As far as the speed up stuff, I didn't notice. I mean, I'm sure they did do that because that was the Henson company who came up with that technique.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall that being a problem with the transfer. I think it was pretty much mostly negative from my recollection, but that's one I watched a long time ago on my old TV. I don't think I've watched the upgraded version since. So I think I still have at least 1 copy of every version of that, though. Even though I've given away almost.
There's just some movies you keep buying and you keep getting one away and you keep getting. It just happens sometimes. But I'm glad you like that, Runner. That's a classic. I think we all sort of grew up on that, except maybe you, because you're new to it.
Dance, magic dance.
Yeah.
Jump, magic jump.
Great music in that too. I mean, really is.
The music is really good. The score, all that, it's really good.
She made it to the oubliette. She shouldn't have made it as far as the oubliette.
But anything else you want to say, Runner, before I guess we move on? I don't know who wants to. Should I go or you two go, Tom, after
I have nothing much else to say. It's I liked it a lot more than I thought.
Those movies surprise you. They really do, especially with movies like that.
Well, I think the reason why I was more interested to see this was because remember that one day you brought in what was that fucking movie? Like it's the one movie. It's like one of those movies I thought was like really overrated.
That could be any number of movies.
I know. The one with the little boy and the dragon at the end.
The little boy and the dragon at the end.
Never Ending Story.
Never Ending Story. That's what it was.
The dragons.
Oh yeah, Never Ending Story.
Yeah, I remember you brought that. You brought the Blu-ray on one day, and I was like, yeah, I watched that when I was in like 6th grade or something. Like my mom made me watch it or something. It's like I was like, I don't get it. But then Tom was like, oh yeah, like he's like Labyrinth is like one of the better movies in that type of genre or whatever. And then I watched then I watched Labyrinth. I'm like, yeah, this was good.
Yeah, there was a period of that fantasy. Like you had Legend, you had that, you had Dark Crystal, of course.
Yes.
A few others, and yeah, I would say box office wise, Never Ending Story was probably the bigger of the bunch, but to me, Labyrinth was always the better of the bunch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, after watching Labyrinth, I'm like, this is way.
I was always more of a Never Ending Story guy, but I love Labyrinth and I love Dark Crystal.
Willow kind of ended that for a while because, like, once Willow came out, it was kind of like that was kind of the end of that kind of.
See,
for a while.
I still need to watch Willow.
I do love Willow, the first one, but the new stuff I'm seeing does not look.
Yeah, that looks awful.
Well, it's from Lucasfilm, so I have no interest either way.
Cheers, Dalton. Hope you enjoy the replay, and I'm waiting for Tuesday myself, but I'm not hearing good things about the 4K, sadly.
Yeah,
so,
sadly. We'll see.
Go on, Runner, sorry.
No, I was going to say, like, I still need to watch Willow, and it's weird that I haven't because I'm a big Val Kilmer fan.
I was going to say, the hard on you have for Val Kilmer, I cannot believe you have not seen Willow.
Because Willow is Val Kilmer besides The Doors.
I was gonna say, yeah, Val Kilmer is one of my favorite actors, and I still haven't seen that. See, maybe it's because I'm not.
That's what they're going to lose big time in the new Willow. I mean,
that's why I'm really upset with it. Yeah.
See the thing about Willow is like, well, I feel like the reason I haven't seen it is I'm not sure if I will like it as much. As
Mad Mardigan is basically like the Han Solo Willow. Like he's the cool character. Don't call me that. What? Peck? Peck.
Runner has no idea what that's from. It's Willow.
Yeah, I'll need to watch it.
You need to. I bet you will love it more than you think. But Tom, you want to go ahead and share one again real quick?
Sure, I can do a quickie.
Yeah, quickie.
I seen one of this is one I had not seen before, and okay, full disclosure, I'm just gonna sound stupid. I watched this for what was it, Memorial Day that was recently or whatever? Veterans Day, sorry,
Veterans Day.
Yeah, Veterans Day.
So I guess it kind of falls in that, but I thought this had something to do with the Americans, but it doesn't.
Oops.
But it was one of Stanley Kubrick's first films, and it is Paths of Glory.
Oh, Paths of Glory.
Now, interestingly enough, pay attention here, Runner, because you'll like this. This movie, I don't know how accurate it is as far as being based on any true story. I'm sure it is loosely based on some accounts, but it's about the French army. So Kirk Douglas is actually a French lieutenant, even though he doesn't speak with any accents whatsoever. Nobody ever speaks in French. They're always speaking English and American accents, just mind you, even though I think there's a couple British guys. But anyway, unless there's something I don't know about a faction of people that were American that went with, I have no idea.
It's like
none of that's addressed. Doesn't fucking matter. The main point of this film is about a group that was forced to go through no man's land during World War I to take a certain hill. And they all refused to go, and they all got put up for the death penalty. So it's a really amazing film. I'm like, oh shit, this has nothing to do with Americans whatsoever by the time I get about a half hour, 10, 15 minutes.
You know what's funny? That's almost a similar plot to Yellow from Tales from the Crypt that I just watched with Kirk Douglas and his son Eric Douglas, because his son is a coward and calls people back if they refuse to go. He refuses to take them up the hill to
that's
fix
a big part of this movie. So maybe that episode is a loose readaptation of this. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because like the whole war aspect of it is really just like the first, not even half of the film. Because it's really like this guy comes down, gives Kirk Douglas his orders. He's like, this is what you're going to do. You're going to take, I can't remember the place that they got to take. Damn it. Anyway, he says, you got to take this hill, and like nobody's been able to take it for like the however long they've been fighting this war. And they're like, it's fucking suicide. Like, doesn't matter. You get the first wave through, we'll be able to take it as long as you can hold it. So like they, basically Kirk Douglas is set on the suicide mission with all these guys. And that's kind of the whole point of the film is about, is it really cowardice to not basically die?
Dude, that is legitimately the yellow. I'm sorry.
That's what I was saying. So like, it's a whole big, like, so then the last half of the film is basically this tribunal. So it's like not even an act, like, because that's the thing is Kirk Douglas is, he's like, well, I want to defend my men. Because what it boils down to is this general who came up with this harebrained fucking idea to begin with. I don't want to give this whole movie away because it's a fucking great film. And it's not very long. It clips right along. It's only 88 minutes.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it just clips right along. And you're like, holy shit, you just get sucked right into it as it goes along. And like, so like the whole thing is, like I said, I don't want to get too much of it because there's a lot of stuff that leads up to this as far as like who's a coward, what is cowardice, what certain people have done up to that point and how certain people are being chosen. Because the whole thing is originally the general wants the entire fucking platoon killed. He wants them all put up for the death penalty. So they have this argument between Kirk Douglas's character, another general, and himself or whatever. And so they basically decide, no, that's too rash. We can't do that. But yet we do need to set a precedent for the men. So what do? They come down to, okay, 3 men, 1 from each regiment or whatever. Fine. So that's how they come down and boil it out. And I'm not going to get into too much more than that because, like I said, how the men are picked and everything, it all plays into the story. Like it's Kubrick. It's like everything means something, right? Like and you do when you get up through the whole entire fucking film. And I don't want to give any big parts away. So then, like Kirk Douglas is like, all right, well, if you're going to put my men on trial, then I want to be able to defend my men. So then he's basically the de facto lawyer for those men. So then basically the last half of the film is these guys going on trial, the result of the trial, and then what happens after the trial. And it is just, you are sucked in from moment one till the last frame. Like it is a brilliant fucking film. You can see why Kubrick ended up becoming who he was after this. You can see why, because this is the reason Kirk Douglas pulled him on to Spartacus, is because he worked with him on this film right here. So, yeah, and it's a great fucking film. I mean, regardless of overlooking the fact that these are supposed to be French.
Yeah, it's supposed to be French. I want to see this now because a lot of what you described there is, a lot of what you described there was in that episode of Tales from the Crypt. It's very similar.
I wonder if it's not like a quasi remake of that.
It's very similar because Kirk Douglas is this hard general, and his son, who's actually played by his son, he's passed away. Eric Douglas was his youngest son. He's a coward. Like, is he a coward because he doesn't want to do what he's being told to do? He doesn't want to die. He said, "Am I a coward for not wanting to die?" So it plays on that, and they have a tribunal to whether or not they'll sentence him to, I don't want to give that one away, but like sentence him to death for what he did. And it sounds very familiar. And plus, it's Kirk Douglas, and it sounds a lot like, to that. And it takes place during World War II. So it's pretty interesting.
But this is World War I. I knew Runner would probably get a kick.
It could be World War I actually in that.
Because the whole thing with No Man's Land, because that's the whole thing is them going across No Man's Land. That's the whole main thing, right? So like, yeah,
right.
Like from Wonder Woman. So I was like, yeah.
That's the 4K from Kino, right?
Yeah. And actually, I think I got this for $15 on one of their sales. So yeah, I just wait out for one of their sales. I think so. I mean, there's no real special features on it really, but no, it's definitely nice to have.
That's kind of I kind of want to see that now.
I need to see more of Kubrick's films when it comes to like his older films, because I've seen.
I mean, look wise, I mean, it's an old black and white film.
Yeah,
But it's
no, 'cause
shot
I've
very
seen-
beautiful, and I mean, it sucks you in. So I mean, I can't like
'cause
brag about how beautiful it looks or anything, but
because I've only seen Kubrick's more popular films, ones that are mostly in color and all that. I'm talking like all those stuff, but like back when he did like the black and white stuff most of the time. Back then, I need to watch more of those.
It's
'Cause I like
interesting. That
Stanley
movie
Kubrick
sounded
as a
actually really
director.
good. It sounds really good.
take the anthill is what they're supposed to take. The anthill.
anthill.
That's what it's
There
called.
you go.
Yeah. And it's this famous hill that the Germans have had power over for however long they've been fighting. I can't remember how long they say this takes place in the war, but yeah.
That's pretty cool. That does sound good, and especially after watching what I watched, it kind of makes me want to see that even more because I would bet that it's like a tribute to that movie.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's interesting. I like it. I dig it.
Speaking of, I think it's your turn now.
Is my turn? Okay.
How many you got left, Runner?
I
think you should have 2 left and Runner has 1.
Yeah, I have 2 left. How many you got, Runner? I think we've lost him.
I have one more.
Oh, you have one
got
more.
one.
Okay, so I'll go. I watched the sequel because everybody was talking about the first one on 4K, which was a really bad transfer. But I watched the sequel, Transfers 2, on Blu-ray here, and I dug it. It's been a while, and I didn't realize some of the people that were in this movie, and it really helps make the movie. It's got a really great cast, and it's a really great follow-up to the original Transfers. It's got Jeffrey Combs is in this, Barbara Crampton is in this, and of course it's got Tim Thomerson coming back as Jack Death, Helen Hunt coming back as his wife, and then they add in Megan Ward, who plays I know, Runner, you have no idea what I'm talking about here, but Megan Ward comes onto the cast as Jack Death's wife from the future, who was supposed to be dead, and it's got a nice little vibe to it. It's a really great, like, sort of straight to DVD sequel, or I guess back in the day, VHS sequel to an 80s movie, because this takes place in the 90s. And it's just a really great, deleted scenes. I agree with you. It was better. It was like better than anticipated because I really love the first Transfers movie. I really, really love it. And considering it does take place at Christmas time, I sort of watched the first one around this time, and it's been so long since I've seen like any of the sequels to Transfers, and I think Part 2, Return of Jack Death, is a really great, a nice little sequel to it, and still directed by Charles Band for the second one, and it was actually is this one trying to remember. Maybe not this one, but like the writer of the first Transfers actually wrote the Flash TV series, the original Flash TV series. So it's pretty cool to have that connected to it. But this one basically it's been 6 years since the first movie. Jack Death is still protecting one of the ancestors of the council from the future, because if he dies, then the whole council dies. And he's married to Helen Hunt now, and the bad guy from the first movie apparently has a brother who's come back through time and has created more Transfers, is making a Transfers farm, and so they sit back Jack Death's wife from the future to rendezvous with him and to take him out. And so it's got a nice little bit of comedy, like between his 2 wives and where Jack Death is and whether he'll go back to the future. And it's got a really great villain, and Jeffrey Combs is in it, and he's pretty funny in this. He always plays a great bad guy. And then Barbara Crampton is in it for a little bit, which I love Barbara Crampton. She plays like an interviewer, like Daily Show type woman, like newswoman, and it's just fun movie. It's a fun movie. I rather enjoyed this sequel. It was something I didn't expect because it's been a while. So Transfers 2, man, check it out if you've never seen it, and if you've ever wondered what happened after the first Transfers. Now I plan on watching Transfers 3 here soon, and then I don't know if I can go past that, because after Transfers 3, Helen Hunt and Megan Ward are no longer part of the series. it's just Jack Death, and it starts getting cheaper, lower budget, and the story doesn't. It winds down. So I'm going to probably get to part 3, and then we'll see if I decide to go after that. But I don't know whatever happened to Megan Ward, Corey Land Rogue. She was hot too, and it would have been interesting to see what if she would have been big. But yeah, I really don't know what happened to her after Transfers Part 2. But yeah, there was my Transfers 2. I watched it, and because everybody's been talking about the 4K, which the 4K of the first one apparently is a really bad 4K transfer. So if you have
get it, but I hope to get to it by next week.
Yeah, there you go. So if if you have the Blu-ray, I've heard just stick with the Blu-ray of the first one, but it's your call if you want to try to check out the 4K. But Transfers 2, it's good. It's good, nice little follow-up. Very 90s. And I don't know what Charles Band was on in this movie, but he, like, every single person in this movie, he does a close-up of their face, and they just talk to the camera. Huh? Cocaine?
Probably cocaine.
Probably. But, like, every single person in this movie, he, like, close up of their face, and they talk to the camera, and you can clearly tell they're not talking to an actor at all across from
Paramount,
them.
most likely. That's the thing. During the full moon years, you got to understand, they had that Paramount money. That was like snow days. I guarantee you there's probably a lot of tits and cocaine around those offices.
Oh, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I would love to hear some of the stories from those people on those sets, because, like, I guarantee they were doing some shit. I mean, you watch the interviews with Tim Thomerson on this. The guy seems like he's on coke himself when they're interviewing him, because he can't sit still and he can't stop cracking jokes.
I'm telling you.
So it's pretty fun. But I enjoyed Transfers too. It was a good one. But Runner, do you want to go, or Tom, or what? However you guys want to do this now. You want to go, Runner, for your last one?
Yeah.
Say Runner probably has to go to bed. So
okay.
Yeah, and I gotta wake up early in the morning.
I still got 3 left here. Jesus.
Not too early. I just gotta help my dad with some in the morning. But yeah. So this is my last one. It's a music biopic. It's fairly new actually, and it got some Oscar got some Oscar nominations. I think
Elton.
It might have won some. No, it's not. It's not Rocket Man or whatever the fuck that is called. I haven't seen that one. It's right around. It might have even came out that same year.
Nobody knew Elton John was gay.
If this is Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm gonna fucking slap you for not bringing it up after Wayne's World.
Oh shit.
Or Highlander.
It is. Jesus.
He talked Highlander and Wayne's World, both Queen, heavily involved Queen.
I should have brought it up first. You're right.
You know what? And he does this shit all the time because he didn't know you. I mean, you were bringing on Highlander and Wayne's World, and he's bringing on Bohemian Rhapsody. He connects all the time.
I forgot about Queen doing the soundtrack for Highlander, and I forgot about Queen, fucking Bohemian Rhapsody in the beginning of Wayne's World.
I literally showed the Queen disc.
I forgot I even had this on my pile.
This made Bohemian Rhapsody a #1 hit again.
Nothing really matters.
I forgot I had this.
Anyone can
He's
see.
in the fucking movie.
Nothing really matters to me.
He's the one who he's in the movie.
Hey, Rudder, step into my office, cause you're fucking fired.
No, that's a great flick. Here's the funny part about that, Runner. I'm curious what you think about it, though. Yeah,
go ahead, Runner.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Well, obviously, it's your movie.
Oh, yeah. I don't know much about the story of Freddie Mercury, so I can't really say whether this was real or not. I assume most of it's bullshit.
Freaking Mike Myers is in that movie. So.
Oh yeah, he is.
That's what I just kept saying. He's in the fucking movie.
Runner goes, oh yeah, he is.
No kids are gonna be headbanging in their cars to this.
Dude, I didn't even recognize him till like much later. Like I couldn't recognize that it was Mike Myers in the movie at one point for some reason.
That would have been like the perfect segue between the two, which is hilarious. Like
no, but I had it in the bottom corner. I just didn't think about it.
But anyway, so you don't know anything about Queen much, but what do you think of the film?
I mean, I like the music, obviously, but it's a decent film. It's directed by Bryan Singer. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he didn't finish the movie though.
I was gonna say I don't know how much involvement he really had.
I heard he did, despite what the public wants to say. Yeah.
No, really.
Yeah,
You know what I really honestly what I learned about Queen through that movie was the first time that I don't know why I didn't know that wow, fuck, I can't even Freddie Mercury was Indian. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. So that was something new I learned.
Yeah, and was it what, Rami Malek or however you say his name is really good in the role.
I just felt he was a little too skinny.
For
Freddie Mercury.
You could say that, but
I'd say short than skinny, but
performance wise, I think he did a pretty good job.
Oh yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah, he's a really good actor. He was completely wasted in that recent James Bond movie.
No, I never saw it, so
yeah, don't bother.
Well,
what was I gonna say? I don't know. I mean, obviously the music stuff is great in this. I don't know.
Okay. Tom?
I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say about this movie.
I don't know how much of a fan of Queen Greg is, or how much you know about him.
I know a bit, not a whole lot, but I know a bit.
They're probably like my second favorite band of all time. That being said, I know just about every goddamn thing there is to know about them, and there's probably tons of shit I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
This movie's 90% bullshit.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, especially like when they tell him he's got, you know, that's not when he told him he had it.
Oh yeah, well let's not even get into the part that let's say there's like at least a half a dozen things that happen completely out of order for no good reason.
Yeah.
That's not how they met. That's not how half that shit went down. The closest thing in the movie that's reality is probably the creation of Bohemian Rhapsody. That song, like the recording of that song is pretty spot on. The rest of it is fairly muddled. That being said, all that being said, it is one of the most well-casted biopics ever. And I was completely against Rami Malek at first because originally Sacha Baron Cohen was supposed to play Freddie Mercury. And he, in my opinion, would have been perfect. Yeah, Sasha walked out when they wouldn't do an R-rated true story. That all being said, like as a movie, it was kind of like this fun tribute to Queen. It's great. Like it's a very watchable film. It hits all the main beats you expect in a biopic, but to me, it's basically like The Doors for Queen, but like in the opposite direction. Like how much The Doors kind of exploited Jim Morrison and his demons. This movie does the opposite, and it kind of whitewashes everything, or however you want to call it. Like
sugarcoats it.
Sugarcoats it. Thank you. Because like, speaking of sugar, like there's a lot of shit missing. There's a lot of drug use missing. There's a lot of excess missing. And it's not just Freddie. Like a lot of the band, you can tell them being in control of this shit really painted themselves as goody two shoes.
Yeah. And, now you know why they approved the story.
Exactly. And on top of it all, you know, that party they show at the movie, that ain't shit. Freddie Mercury would have fucking midgets running around with cocaine on their heads, like on plates and shit. Like, motherfucker knew how to party.
Bring on the girls.
There's a reason he got AIDS, right? Like, it's pretty well known. Motherfucker like to fucking not just men, everybody.
Everything.
Like,
yeah, I'm just speaking of David Bowie.
Rabbit. Exactly. David was the same goddamn way. So there's a big part of that that's missing. And again, like other than that, it does capture a good way of like how Freddie was just able to pull things and how the band really worked together well as a band, right? One piece couldn't work without the other. You really needed them all together to kind of be Queen.
Right.
And without Freddie, I feel like they haven't been Queen since, as much as they still tour and all that shit. There's a reason why they don't do new music, because you can't without Freddie. It's not the same. You need all those pieces together, all four of them, to make the band what it is. And I like that part of the movie. I like that it shows each and every one of them contributed to the band in some way. I like that aspect of it. You know, it doesn't show that it's just Freddie, but you know, at the same time, should have been Freddie Mercury's story, and they should have let that be his story and kind of let that flourish and what have you. Because I mean, they get to live on and do their thing still, so who cares? But Brian May specifically is really, you know, had a lot in his career beyond Queen. So
yeah,
I forgot. Didn't he win Best Actor for this movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think it's the only award the movie won.
pretty much.
Okay, yeah. Oh,
what's sad is they could have written a new song for the movie too. There's a bunch of songs that I guess they still haven't finished of Freddie's that are still supposedly.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to with Adam Lambert and stuff. I'm really surprised they haven't.
Yeah, I think he does sing a song on the soundtrack, but it's not a new song from my memory. I can't remember. I have to look. But like, I can't believe they didn't write a new song so they could at least win an Oscar for that. But
yeah, you would think. But yeah.
But there's just a lot of little stupid things in there that just don't make no fucking sense. Like what Greg brought up, one of the bigger ones is, I mean, actually that one makes more sense. Like him telling he has AIDS before Live Aid, just that's all dramatic purposes.
Yeah, it plays up the moment.
Because they were not fighting at that point. None of that happened the way it did. They ended up basically, it was kind of more or less, they just weren't getting the messages quick enough because they were still in the midst of their own tour. Because they had done, like they set it up in the movie like they hadn't done an album in forever. It's like, no, Queen never stopped making albums. Like they fucking had tons and tons of albums. Like,
yeah,
they had like 14 albums, right? Like it's like, and Freddie just kept recording shit up until the day he died, and he said the rest of you guys are gonna have to finish this.
Yeah,
you know? And that's kind of what the last album was. So like, it's just it makes no sense that they kind of play it off like, oh, Queen was kind of down on their luck and da, 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 da. No, not really. You forgot It's a Kind of Magic completely.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm.
You forgot, you know, they forget all kinds of shit in that era. They forgot Flash. They forgot.
I was about to say Flash Gordon. Flash.
They forgot all that kind of shit. They just wanted that big highlight moment of Live Aid because that part was kind of true. They did come in and kick ass at Live Aid.
That's true. And then Serial Midnight did a video on biopics about people how much of them are true and how much of them aren't and stuff. So yeah, it's interesting because some people like you didn't know a lot about Queen, but you still enjoyed the movie even though it's really false. So there's some people that cannot enjoy the movie because they know how much bullshit it is. So
well, to me, in spite of all that, like I went in trying to hate the movie. I'll be honest with you. This is one of the few times I actively went in not wanting to like the movie. And it ended up winning me over. And it was because it was such a loving tribute to Queen. Regardless of if it was like, sure, it was basically the equivalent of a movie of the week on television. Right? It's that sanitized. Fine. Whatever. I'm fine with that. I know the truth. Most people who care know the truth. There's enough of the truth nuggets in here. But like the other thing I was going to say is like the other anachronism that just makes no fucking sense whatsoever is why they have We Will Rock You being written in 1980. There's no reason for that. It's like that happened in 1977. And while we're on that subject, let's talk about the title for a fucking minute. Why is it called Bohemian Rhapsody? That is a dumb fucking title for this movie. It should be called We Will Rock You, first of all.
There you go.
Because then that kind of plays into just who Queen was, and that was their fucking anthem. And they played that song at every goddamn concert afterwards. It opened and closed every one of their concerts pretty much. So
that would be a better title.
it makes
for, like,
more
a movie.
sense.
Yeah.
Bohemian
and plus,
Rhapsody.
well, plus We Will Rock You was a better like title to like kind of suck people in to see the movie too.
It's just, I don't know why. I really don't know why they would choose. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I just don't know. I could tell you, but We Will Rock You would have been better, way better title. I think it would have probably sold better too. So
yeah,
well, it didn't need that help. It actually is one of the highest
that's
grossing
true.
biopics of
That's
all
true.
time.
It was very successful.
So in that
No,
case, I'm kind of wrong. So
I think that's why the Elton John movie kind of bombed afterwards, because it was like
Rocket Man.
which is
Rocket
sad
Man.
because you know what? That's actually the more historically accurate one.
Yeah.
Even though it's the more fantastical of the two. Because that one is actually more like a jukebox musical.
Right.
Even though that one is more historically accurate, despite the fact that it's a flat out fucking musical. Like the songs are presented in the movie throughout the story, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Actually, I did like Rocket Man.
Did you? I haven't seen it. I've never been a big Elton John
I
fan,
haven't seen it
so
either.
That might be a
I need to
problem.
watch more music biopics.
I was gonna say, if you're not an Elton John fan,
yeah, I'm not really an Elton John fan.
that
That's
might
why I
be a
never
problem.
bothered with it.
Sorry, what's up? You guys cut out from my end. Still fucking.
We said if you're not an Elton John fan, maybe Rocket Man isn't for you.
I don't know. I mean,
I dug Elvis, though. I liked Elvis way more than I anticipated.
See, and that's what I did. I compared that. See, that's the thing. Elvis and Rocket Man feel more like kindred spirits.
Right.
Even though Rocket Man is still more of the traditional musical. Like, it's a flat out, like, have you seen Jersey Boys?
Yes.
It's more like Jersey Boys.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, where basically it's a musical telling their story.
Did they stop and talk to the camera and the Rocket Man like they do in Jersey Boys?
Not exactly, but they do sing towards the camera sometimes.
Okay.
Like, it all kind of kicks off with, like, okay, it kind of kicks off Elton's a kid, for instance. Then it leads into this huge, like, musical number of The Bitch Is Back. And it's him as a kid singing it with a big bunch of background, like the whole full-on musical background dancers and singers and everything. And then it leads into when he's a teenager, and then he goes and plays at the bar and writes a song. So, like, and then at the bar, that song becomes then a musical motif, and it really kind of plays with the element of it's a musical about a musician kind of thing. It really does. It to me, it blends and glides very well. But the problem is you have to be an Elton John fan.
Yeah.
If you're not a fan of the music, then you're probably going to have a tough time with the movie. Yeah. Because once you're not listening to the music, you're getting into the parts of who he is actually, and his relationships with men. So it doesn't shy away from that. So for somebody who's squeamish with that shit, I'm just saying, because I'll be honest with you, in the time of woke, and I've said this time and time again, and I'll stand by it, one of the best gay representations in film has been Rocket Man, because it doesn't like flaunt it. It treats it like any other movie would a relationship.
Yeah.
And it doesn't exploit it. And it actually has one of the first gay love scenes on screen in a Hollywood film. So kudos to them. So whatever. Yeah. And you don't even notice these things until after the fact when somebody points it out to you if you watch the film, because it just kind of is part of the story.
Right.
And what's funny is the connection between those two is there's a character or a person in real life who actually is in Bohemian Rhapsody and represented in here too.
Did not know that.
One of the guys that helped Queen is actually Elton John's manager and at that time boyfriend.
There you
go. I got a question for all of you. What's your favorite?
I think his name was
biopic?
Malibu or whatever in the Queen movie. What was that? Sorry, go ahead, Runner. Our favorite biopic?
I think he was asking what our favorite biopic was. Yeah.
Music? Probably La Bamba. Straight up biopic? Man on the Moon.
Okay.
Man on the Moon.
So, I mean, I still need to see more music biopics or biopics in general, whatever. But so far, I gotta say it's The Doors, Oliver
I
Stone's.
I liked Great Balls of Fire and La Bamba.
I still need to see La Bamba.
La
I've heard
Bamba's
that's
great.
Yeah,
I've heard it's great, but I can't help it, man. Val Kilmer kicks ass.
Esai Morales is so good in that.
yes, Richie. See where I live,
What
we
about
always
me?
where I live, we've always been geared towards the southern rock type stuff. That's why we was always more like Elvis over the Beatles. I like Jerry Lee Lewis, so I like the Great Balls of Fires movie. I like La Bamba. I like the Jersey Boys movie too because I like Frankie Valli, even though that's not southern rock. um, but I'm trying to think myself. Man on the Moon is a good biopic. I like the Elvis one. I just don't really know. I'm trying to think here.
Well, it's just to me like Man on the Moon is probably one of the most accurate ones.
Yeah, and he
Hands
really did
down.
channel him really good in that movie. Andy
just the
Kaufman, by
fact
the
that
way.
99% of what happened in that movie actually happened. It may not all happen in that exact order, but it did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's a series, The Offer was fucking great. And
I've heard that.
On who you ask,
that.
it's fairly accurate, but depends on who you ask.
See, the thing is, like with me with biopics, I tend to not watch a whole lot of them because, to be honest with you, they end sad because it's real life. You know what I mean.
True.
At the same time, I have a soft spot for them, even some of the cheesier ones. For some reason, I'm a biopic freak. Like I love even if it's a movie about making of a movie, right? Like I love RKO 281. I love the Hitchcock one that he did. I think it's just called Hitchcock, if I remember right.
Yeah, I think it's called Hitchcock. Yeah.
Go ahead, Runner.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were still talking, but speaking of films about making films, not to derail the conversation, but I watched Clerks 3.
Oh God, why?
I was bored one day, and I'm like, all right, let's see how bad or good this could be.
Walk the Line, Johnny Cash. By the way, I like that one. Oh, sorry, go.
That one.
That's one I wasn't as much of a fan of, but I know
It's not the greatest, but it was all right.
Yeah.
Coal Miner's Daughter. Sorry, Runner.
Nah, it's fine. Honestly, it's there. It's that type of movie.
Right.
It's like there are things in it I kind of like. Like there were a few things that made me chuckle, but overall, it's like it really just feels like a self-insert of what about Kevin Smith recently with the heart attack and like the whole thing of the way they kind of execute the like some of parts of the film are also like really boring. And I try to look past the whole Kevin Smith part. For me, it's like all right, I want to see like what it is kind of like in that same, like it feels like a Jay and Silent Bob reboot type of movie in a way.
I'll take your word for it because I'm never going to watch it. But yeah, I did like that. I actually did like American Sniper. I did like American Sniper. I thought that was a good movie.
I heard that was good.
It's actually a good movie.
Yeah, but Clerks 3, I only watched it just for interest. It's nothing special.
No,
yeah, you missed
I
nothing.
get you, but I'm not gonna watch it.
No, plus what they do to Rosario Dawson's character.
Yeah, that's the dumbest. Once I heard, it's just so dumb.
I mean, it's like they do in the very beginning. Okay, spoiler alert: she fucking dies off screen, and apparently she dies in 2006, which is literally the same year Clerks 2 came out.
Yeah,
it's like
that's one of the things that I heard about that really bothered me. There's a whole bunch of shit that I just
I'm not down with it.
Yeah,
because I almost contemplated seeing it despite everything, and then when I heard that shit, I'm like, fuck this noise. So overall, though, I didn't hear the first part though. Runner, did you like it or no?
I didn't love or hate it. It was
Mm.
just there. It's like, I mean, the ending part was like, well, overall at the end I was pretty underwhelmed. I'm like, it's just kind of how I felt with Jay and Silent Bob reboot. It's like, yeah, it's kind of in that same category. But I think I think reboot is better though than Clerks
No,
3.
see, here's the thing: deleted scenes. No, because she's still in the movie as a ghost.
Yeah,
No, that's the
Or
stupid
like
part.
he just sees her in his head or something, right?
yeah, he does. No,
And
like
here's the one time you could give the excuse that he could put his fucking kid in the goddamn movie. Because she's roughly the age that their kid would be.
Right.
So that's the thing. That's not only did they kill her, keep in mind, they killed the kid too.
Yep.
Yeah, that was weird. I'm like when she died, I'm like, what about the fucking kid?
That's what bothers me. Like, I heard that shit, I'm like, fuck this noise. And then they make some ass-to-mouth joke about her in heaven and shit. And I'm like, are you serious?
Oh, yeah, they did
Yeah.
do that. That was so fucking stupid. Like some, you know, when you mention that, it's like some of the comedy in the movie just doesn't work. Like
It's because he ain't Kevin Smith no more.
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like it's like, yeah, like it's like it sucks because it's like I feel like he would write better stuff than this. You know, like when it comes to like the comedy aspect, and you know, they make a Last Jedi reference in it. It's not like horrifically bad. But like, what is it? When
Did he take a picture of himself crying?
no, Kevin Smith didn't cry, but what's his name in Clerks 2, who the pillow pants guy, I forget his character's name, but he cries like crazy, and I'm like, oh my god.
Elias.
A lot, yeah. Oh, he starts crying because what is it? He thinks it's his fault that Randall got the heart attack or whatever because he had like an argument with him in the store or whatever. And it's like, I'm like, oh my god, like this is definitely a self-insert of him fucking crying all the damn time. Like I couldn't stand that shit. Plus, like, yeah, like when he sees her or whatever, it's like, well, she's a ghost when he visits her grave, and then when they shoot the scene, like the party scene in Clerks 2, is when Dante like doesn't go in because he's like he gets all emotional and stuff, so he just runs back or something. And literally, like, you know how Randall makes the film, right? In like the trailer and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Literally in the fucking end where Dante like watches the movie, it's literally just footage from like the actual movie where they're
Clerks.
younger.
Uh,
It's like, well, why the fuck can't you just like why
Sounds
can't
stupid.
yeah,
yeah,
like why can't
you're not selling me on this movie at all. It just make me
I'm
not
not-
want to watch it even more.
I'm not trying to. It's not
I just have no interest in the movie.
you know what? Yeah, the more I talk about this, the more it sucks.
It's a shit. That just sounds like a shit movie altogether.
Like, so he watches the movie and it's like it's just footage from the first two Clerks movies. Like, why can't you just show the footage like that you shot now, where they're the same age now? And plus it's convoluted as shit because what is it? Randall and Dante get into a really big argument, and then Dante gets the heart attack. And,
It's
and then Randall like goes back home. He's in his fucking iMac or whatever fuck, and is like editing the entire movie. And I'm like, is it even finished? I'm like, I don't think you got all your footage that you needed to get for. And maybe I'm just saying that because I'm actually taking a digital film class now. So maybe that's why I pick apart that part. Like, and then he shows in the movie and it's like it's just Clerks, but it's like the old footage of when they were young, and it's like, why couldn't you just show them the actual footage you actually shot?
Because he thought he was being clever and going to make you cry by showing the footage from the original movies as if it was the footage he shot to make it very emotional and see it makes you emotional because it makes you want to watch the first two and forget about the third one and forget about Kevin Smith in general.
Yeah, it sucks. And then Dante dies at the end.
It's stupid. It just sounds stupid altogether.
It's like, really?
Anyways, let's move on. Tom, do you want to show? We've gone for almost 3 hours here. So do you want to show? What do you want to do?
Yeah, sorry to derail the.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to save one for the next time because I think it'll hold out because it's a Christmas title anyway.
Okay.
I'll do my other two because I think you guys will be interested in at least one of them. But speaking off of my Paths of Glory one, which was a kind of a courtroom drama of sorts. I did watch another one of my courtroom dramas because, as you guys know, I do love them.
Mm-hmm.
This one, of course, comes from the Columbia Collection 2. It is the Jimmy Stewart classic Anatomy of a Murder. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this film.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, Otto Preminger is the director. Very interesting film indeed. It's not the type of film normally that Jimmy Stewart would be cast in.
Mm-hmm.
Because the part would actually probably be more for like at that time like a Clark Gable or somebody along those lines.
Rock Hudson.
Or even maybe what's his face who we mentioned earlier from the Tales from the Crypt thing.
Kirk Douglas.
No, not Kirk Douglas. Well, he would even probably be more along those lines. But
Humphrey Bogart. Yeah,
Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of like a noir story.
Mm-hmm.
But what Jimmy Stewart plays is a like kind of a. He's like a small town lawyer. So then I don't know if they tailored the character a little bit more to him because that part feels more Jimmy Stewart once we get into it. But like the rest of the character just doesn't feel like that because he's kind of a no nonsense kind of lawyer who used to be a DA.
Mm.
And he gets wrapped up in this murder case. And it is just kind of brilliantly done. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, but it doesn't feel like it. And they did a Dolby Atmos soundtrack for this, and it's actually a very well done song. I shit you not. There was times I thought there was cars outside my house.
Damn.
Like there was I'm like, is there a fucking dump truck outside
my
house?
Good sound.
The movie. Like, no, that's in the fucking movie. I'm like, all right, cool. But like, yeah, and it's got a really great score by what the hell's the name of the jazz musician? Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington did the score. Came out in 58. So, I mean, in that respect, I mean, that it does wear its age on that end, but it's just one of those movies that it's very well paced. It's not a cut and dry case. The movie even kind of leaves you at that point to where is the people you think guilty really guilty, or the people that you think are innocent really innocent?
I like that.
Because it's really set up, and the short version of it's predicated on is what appears to be a revenge for rape murder. And that's the other thing I got to imagine when this movie came out, right? You got to stop and think 1958, and the stuff they talk about in this movie had to be racy as
I was going to say that sounds like for that time, yeah.
So, like, because they flat out use the terms rape. They flat out use the term sperm. There's things in this movie that I can't believe that they got away with in 1958. And I got to imagine that was a bit of a stir at the time.
Yeah.
Sadly, there isn't much for special features on here. I mean, there's stuff on the Blu-ray, but it's like interviews with other people. It's not like with anybody involved with the movie. So I didn't really watch any of that stuff, sadly. So I probably would have had a better understanding of the time when it came out. But I got to imagine that's probably one of the reasons it stayed so prevalent, is just because of how probably ahead of its time it was. Because regardless of feeling like it was shot in 58 and all that kind of stuff, this feels like a movie that would have come out in the 70s, is what I was kind of getting to. So like in that respect, like as far as like the what it's all about, because it's kind of like this chick because that's the other thing is like the whole, you don't know who's innocent and really guilty, because of the fact that the chick who supposedly was raped, she's kind of a bit of a tart. So you got that going on.
Oh, they even do like slut shaming.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah. And there's other things like, of course, her husband, who's a military guy, he's got that going for him, but he's also got a bit of a temper. So then they're trying to use different kind of defenses for him, and it's just the kind of things that he goes through and figures out, and him and his crew. It's just a really great film, how it's all put together, and I could see why it wound up in the Columbia box set as far as that goes. And I'm a Jimmy Stewart and a courtroom drama fan, so
that one
in those
sounds
two
interesting.
respects, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd have to say, yeah, that definitely sounds like it's ahead of its time in the department there.
And if you've ever heard the "I'm just a country lawyer," that's where that comes from.
I'm just a simple country lawyer.
That's where that comes from. Is this movie? I never knew that until now.
I didn't know that either because I do that all the time when I talk to somebody and
I'm just a simple country lawyer.
when they say something, I'm just a simple country lawyer. I may not understand certain things, but I do know.
Yeah, so that's whenever you hear that, that's making fun of this. Yes.
I did not know that.
And it actually has a really great supporting cast too. Because you got what's his face who plays the mayor in Jaws.
Oh yeah.
He's in it and he's younger. George C. Scott is in it.
Oh, George C. Scott. Nice.
Yeah, young George C. Scott's in it too.
Nice. Great actor.
I love, yeah.
Yeah, and he's really good in it because he's kind of like Jimmy's adversary, right? Because the DA is kind of a floozy.
Yeah.
So they bring in this state guy, and that's George C. Scott. So he's like very intimidating.
Nice.
As a DA, so
he's got that voice too that really he sounds like he's always yelling at you even when he's not yelling at you. I love that. Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I kind of want to see that movie. Just like you've sold me on 2 older movies tonight. I like older movies though, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
It has that noir feel to it.
Yeah, I like noir.
So,
yeah, that's pretty cool. Nice. Speaking of noir, sort of similar. I guess you could almost say this is sort of like that. My final movie of the night from my Scream Factory Shocktober sale when I got to watch. I hadn't seen it. Yeah, it's not really. Well, sort of. I had not seen this movie in such a long time, and I had to pick it up once I saw Scream had it. Jack's back with. Oh my God! His name went out. What's his name?
Ultron.
Yeah, James Spader in Jack's back. Have any of you guys seen this movie?
Vague. I remember the trailers more than I remember the movie.
I remember. Yeah, it's a movie. I don't know what it is. It's just I saw this a long time ago.
One of those kind of like psychological thriller kind of.
Yeah, psychological thriller, sort of noirish in a way, certain parts of the way. Runner, if you got to go, you can go ahead and go.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I got going.
I got another movie left. Are you sure you don't want to stick around? That's a hint.
God, was I breaking up that much?
I guess so.
Yeah, I guess so.
He has no idea.
What did I sound like? I knew.
No, what I'm saying is you're going to miss the last movie. This is a hint.
Well,
I mean, not Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's the hint, Jesus.
No
You have anything
shit.
spelled out for you?
No, I don't know what your last movie's gonna be.
No, I know you won't. But it's got Arnold in it.
Yeah,
Right,
I know what it is.
I'll still watch the show. I just won't be in it. Plus, my internet.
If
fucking
Runner
sucks.
actually paid attention to the chat, I showed all my movies.
You did. But have a good night, Runner. We'll see you next week.
All right, see ya.
Take care, buddy.
You're right. Deleted Steven. It is on the box, and I don't know why I blanked. But I enjoy this movie. It's not one of like the best movies you'll ever see or anything. And it's from the director of my mind's going on me all of a sudden. Roadhouse. The director of Roadhouse directed this movie. This was like James Spader's first leading role. It's sort of Jack's back because Jack the Ripper. Somebody in LA is recreating the Jack the Ripper murders, and he's killing. It's 100 years to the day. He's killing prostitutes, just like Jack the Ripper did, and he's about to kill his last victim. James Spader plays a young doctor who's working at like a free clinic, and he's trying to help out the people and everything. And he thinks he sees who it is, one of the people that he works with, because he goes to the house of this woman that he went to, prom with in high school, and she's a hooker, and she's pregnant, and one of Jack the Ripper's victims was a hooker who was pregnant. And so he thinks he catches the guy that did it, but that guy ends up killing James Spader. And you're going, what the hell? What happened? And then boom, James Spader wakes up in the bed, and you're going, okay, now I'm lost. Turns out James Spader had a twin brother. It's about twin brothers. And the one twin brother, he's like the more James Spader that you might know. He wears the leather jacket, the little, like the bad boy. So he like seen his brother's death in his head. So it goes on this whole like investigation of like who killed his brother, who's doing the Jack the Ripper killings, are they one and the same? And Cynthia Gibb is in it she's from one of the Death Warrant. She's from Death Warrant. So it's got that, and it's got a nice little investigation story, and James Spader does an actual really good job of taking these two guys and playing them very differently. Like the one brother who was like a really goody two-shoe doctor who's like kind of nerdy. And then the other brother who's like, I'm the bad boy. I wear a leather jacket and I drive a convertible, like that type of guy. So it's a fun little movie. I had a lot of fun with it watching this time around because I hadn't seen it in so many years, and I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And it's got a nice little mystery.
I've ever seen it. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. I just remember the trailers and the covering all that business.
It's pretty good, and I didn't really spoil nothing because technically this is sort of like Scream. The James Spader dies in the beginning of the movie, and that's when you get really confused because you're going in, what just happened? It's kind of like Scream, kind of like Psycho, and then all of a sudden it picks up with his twin brother. So it goes from there, and it's a fun watch. I enjoyed it. It keeps you on edge. It's got Robert Picardo in it too, who's pretty good. He's a psychiatrist for the police, and I always found it pretty fun, pretty fascinating. It's just pretty funny. And the scene, according to the director of this movie, there's a scene in it where James Spader's character goes to buy a gun from like a seedy place, and the guy asks him, what's a young kid like you need with a gun? And he says, a wedding present. Apparently that line and that scene got the director Roadhouse to direct Roadhouse. So there's that connection. But it's a fun movie. I was glad to pick it up. It was only like $8, and I was like, yeah, I had to get that. I had to get that movie. It's a fun watch. So yeah, that's my final pick of the night of that one.
Well, I'll save my one, like I said, so we can get out of here. My last one tonight is Schwarzenegger film. Studio Canal released this recently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if or when it's going to get a U.S. release. I got to imagine Lionsgate, I think, would release it sooner or later. But it's, believe it or not, a Schwarzenegger film I had never seen before.
Really?
Believe it or not, yes. And it is Raw Deal.
Raw Deal.
In a brand new 4K transfer. Now, evidently, I guess large portions of the negative are missing or something of this. Although the transfer does look pretty decent to me. You can tell there's, bits and pieces here and there that are not quite up to snuff as the rest of it. But overall, it was a fun little film. It was kind of an old school kind of revenge thriller, kind of typical kind of movie, gangster picture, just with Arnold Schwarzenegger inserted into it.
It's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember much of it.
Well, he's basically like this disgraced FBI agent who's given a chance to regain his status if he kills somebody for one of his former lead officers, or whatever you call it, or superior officers. And so he goes into this undercover world, into the gangster world, and there's no fucking way anybody would buy.
You mean nobody buy 6'3" German
maybe
fucking
his
guy?
muscle, but like
muscles.
You know, I don't know. He was,
I'm just one of you New Jersey guys.
it's a fun movie though. It is a fun movie.
Yeah, his movies are always fun. His older like 80 movies.
And it doesn't like dwell too long. It just gets in and out. Pretty typical film of that time. It came out in '86. So I think it was on the heels of Commando, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
Trying to think how long it was. It didn't feel like it was very long. I guess it's an hour and 45 minutes. I felt more like 90.
It must move pretty fast then, like with the plot and everything.
But like, what's even funnier is not only is it harder to buy him as a gangster, it's even harder to buy him as a small town sheriff at the beginning. Like a country podunk.
Actually, have you seen the one? What is that? Is one of his newer movies that he made where he plays a small town sheriff in a small town.
Trying to remember. I think I know the one you're talking about, but
I can't remember what it's called. I have it. It plays much better now. He plays a small town sheriff much better now than he would back then.
And Steven knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, because this is clearly a movie that would have been better for like Bruce Willis or James Woods, somebody along those lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it almost has to be somebody just a little bit more older and grizzled. Schwarzenegger or Stallone would have been actually. This feels more like a movie that Schwarzenegger stole from Stallone, to be honest with you. If you want my honest advice.
I wonder if we looked it up if it would said that. Or
like to me, it feels like a vehicle that was written for Stallone, and Arnold's like, I want to make it instead.
I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it better than Stallone. He's like 5 foot.
No, this truly feels like it's like Stallone could really blend in with the gangster side of things. Because watching Tulsa King right now, like I saw the first episode of that, it's fucking brilliant.
Oh
it's
yeah.
Like, why hasn't he done more gangster shit? Well, this would have been a perfect vehicle for him to do that shit back then. Other than that, all he's really done is Oscar. You know, like I'm trying to think of any other stuff that Stallone did that was any remotely gangster stuff, and I think that's about it.
Yeah.
But I think he would play like background gangsters and things in the past, but
true.
He couldn't even get a part in the Godfather.
That's who would have thought that Stallone could get in Godfather. Arnold, Stallone. My mind went on me. Sorry, and my mind went out on me that time. But yes, The Last Stand is the Schwarzenegger movie where he plays a small town sheriff. So, but yeah, that's I haven't seen Raw Deal in so long. How's the 4K? Because you said it didn't.
It doesn't look too bad considering.
They couldn't find all the elements or whatever.
I guess, and it says it right in the beginning of the movie, so they flat out tell you that. So I didn't have to do any research. Like it says, like something about the negative not being available, or most of the negative not being available. So the best elements were used for this 4K reconstruction or whatever. So I mean, other than like I said, some scenes you can clearly tell. Like for the most part, I wouldn't have said it looked any worse than some of the other transfers we've seen as of late. Or like I'm like, you wouldn't have told me that. I wouldn't have really known.
You wouldn't have,
I
you wouldn't have guessed it.
But I wouldn't have been like, yeah, okay, so they don't have the whole fucking negative. I get it.
I get it.
Being that I think this is a Dino De Laurentiis film, I'm not surprised. I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's Dino De Laurentiis. Lord knows where half the movie is.
He is a cost-effective movie maker. What can you say?
Like I wonder in what shape most of the elements of most of his movies were kept in if they weren't owned by a major studio.
All right,
pretty fly by night.
At least we got Flash Gordon like 30 times, but at least we got it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Get Carter. That's right, Steve.
Yeah, Get Carter. That wasn't too bad.
No, that was pretty decent, but I can't compare it to to the original because I've never actually seen the original. I have it now.
But it's coming out.
I do have it.
It came out on 4K. Yeah.
I just haven't watched it yet.
You know, that reminds me of is that one Mel Gibson movie out on Blu-ray? Payback.
In the US, you can get the stupid director's cut.
Oh, I don't like the director's cut.
But if you import it, it has usually both versions on it. I have an import.
Okay.
So, I mean, if worse comes to worse, I can probably get it for you. You know
I liked that movie, Payback. It was good. I don't think I really seen the
I
director
call the
cut
US
once, but I don't
version
think
is
I really liked the
I
director's
don't like
cut.
the director's cut.
Yeah,
You can tell why Mel Gibson took that fucking movie away from him and recut it.
yeah,
Like
that's what I was
that's pretty
thinking.
much what it boils down to. For those who don't know what the hell this movie's all about, okay, the director had a cut of the movie. Mel Gibson took one look at it and said, "This is a piece of shit." Reworked the movie, recolor timed it, made it more of a comedy.
Hmm.
The director's cut is depressing as fuck. It's dark, it's dour, it's primarily the same film, but it just doesn't have the same crispness to it. And it doesn't have the same kind of tone to it exactly. It's similar but not the same. But they let him do this at the time when Mel Gibson got canceled, is what it was all about.
Yeah, so they let him go back and do the director's cut.
Yeah, let me tell you, if it wasn't for that, there's no way this would exist, because this is the version of the movie that Mel Gibson took one look at and said, I'm not allowing my face to be out on a fucking piece of shit like that.
Right.
And if you see the actual theatrical cut, which is technically I call Mel Gibson's cut, is the superior version of the film. It's got the tone right, everything it's spot on, it rolls better. Sends the message home better. It makes you feel better watching it. It's not as dour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a good one. I enjoyed the Payback. So I forgot. I have the DVD of the theatrical cut. I always wondered if it was on Blu-ray. So now I guess
back in the day, that DVD was one of the best DVDs I had seen at that time.
Yes, it's good
picture wise, but I can't imagine how bad it looks now.
Yeah, after some of the stuff, I mean, not to be like, this or that, but yeah, after some of the 4Ks and Blu-rays I've seen, it's kind of hard to go back to DVD once in a while.
Exactly, right? But no, like the Blu-ray that I have has both versions on it for my
that's cool.
So I think I can hook you up with that.
That's cool. I mean, if you could get more DVDs like Johnny, shit, I can't even think of it, with Michael Keaton that we just got. Johnny Dangerously. If you get more DVDs, look like a Blu-ray, because that looks like a Blu-ray.
Yeah, so. But I'd still rather have a Blu-ray.
I'd still rather have a Blu-ray myself.
But Steven, I guess he likes the director's cut of Payback. Hey, more power to. I remember buying that. And I was so pissed. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, you can't even watch the other version. I'm like, what the hell? I was so pissed when I bought that when it came out on video.
Oh yeah,
for the first time, and I'm like, are you shitting me? Because that was the first time Payback came to Blu-ray. And I loved Payback when it came out. That was a hilarious fucking movie.
Did you ever see the Jason Statham version?
No, I didn't know Jason made a version of it.
Yeah, he plays the same character as Mel Gibson played. It's called Parker.
Oh, Parker! I've heard of it, but I didn't know it had anything to do with it.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same character that Mel Gibson played.
See, that's the thing is, I think Payback's actually a remake anyway. If I'm thinking correctly, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it's like a sequel or a remake, or
it's
if
based
it's
on a series of books or something.
Yeah,
like that.
it's from a series of books. I'm trying to remember if it's like before or after Payback. I don't remember, but it's got him in it, and it's got Jennifer Lopez.
I never knew there was a connection. Now I know.
Yeah. So it's all right. It's not great. It misses the Mel Gibson stuff, to be honest with you. But Jason Statham, he's pretty good. It's all right. So
holes in my alligator suit. That's just mean, man.
It's mean.
Like I think his character's not even in the director's cut, if I remember right.
Oh,
like that's the thing that pisses me off. Like, there's a whole bunch of different changes. You can tell they went back for reshoots.
Yeah, because I watched the director's cut once, and I was like, I don't like this one.
You can totally tell. There's like, I don't remember if it's his character or somebody else. One of the characters is not even in the other version. And it's like, because the last act is like completely different and shit like that. And there's like this whole dour feeling to the whole thing. And instead of it having the blue hue to everything, it has like this reddish, gaudy feel to it. I'm sorry if anybody does like the director's cut. I just fucking hated it. To me, it was just blech.
Yeah, I'm with you, because I remember because I didn't know that that what, like you said with the director, how Mel Gibson had to recut it and all that at the time, and I was like, oh, a director's cut of Payback. I really like Payback. I watched it and I was like, I don't like this.
That's right, Point Blank. Yeah, that I knew. See, that's why I thought, okay, like I couldn't remember if that was a remake or whatever.
Okay, Point Blank.
Yeah, and then I do remember it's based on a book. I did know that. Yeah, so I was right. Okay, cool.
So is that like does that mean the one that's on Netflix with Oh my God, what is his name? The guy's from Captain America. What's his guy? The guy that's playing Captain America now, the black guy. I can't think of his name.
Oh, shit, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name either.
Yeah. I want to say Sam Wilson, but I know his name's not Sam Wilson.
Yeah, I know. I can't think of it. I know who you're talking about, yeah.
It's him and Crossbones from Captain America. There's a movie on Netflix called Point Blank. Is that a remake of which is a remake of Point Blank? So is that set in the same world as that?
There's a lot of movies with that title.
I know. I'm pretty sure it's a remake of the original Point Blank.
It might be.
So let me look this up real quick.
Go for it.
It's actually not a bad movie.
It's only
actually,
midnight. Oh.
Yeah, it's only midnight, which I need to probably get to bed. Okay. Stars Frank Grillo, Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie is the name. Yeah. I'm trying to see here if it's a remake, because I'm pretty sure it's a remake. Come on. What is this a remake? Come on, give me. It doesn't say. I always thought it was a remake. Okay. But yeah, the movie's not too bad on Netflix. It could use some work, but it's not too bad. But there you go. So there's so many movies like that. Yeah, it's a different thing. That's why I was looking it up. Yeah, it's different.
Well, hopefully next week we'll all have planes, trains, and automobiles to talk about.
At least me and you probably will.
Even though it does sound like doesn't sound like it has the best transfer from what we're hearing.
I wonder why. I wonder what Dave did to it.
I don't know. And it sounds like a similar issue with Christmas Vacation, but we'll have to see on that, I guess.
Yeah. That'll be probably later in December for me. So all right. I guess we'll close it out, because when I start losing memory here, that means I'm probably getting tired. Because my mind was going on me for the last couple minutes.
I'm going to, so.
All right. We better get going. Thank you guys for everybody that stuck with us this long. We stretched this one out. Tom watched a lot this week, so.
I did. Well, that's what happens when I get sick. I actually got some time to sit, chill and watch shit.
I'm hoping to have
in the middle of the night and have 2 hours that I can't sleep.
Yeah, there you go. I'm hoping to have some more watched by next week. But thank you, everybody in the chat, everybody watching.
And then like Reservoir Dogs, like the moment I got it, I had to watch that. Like that instantly went in my player. Like it was like there was no delay.
I cannot wait to get mine so I can watch it. But thank you, Tom. Thank you, Runner, chat, everybody watching. As always, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And I hit the wrong one.
How you doing? Bitches leave.